What's everybody? What's happening, everybody? Nice to see you. Hi there. Welcome to The Purge. I am Kane B. I'll be your host today of the Shenanigan-Infused Journey. As usual, we have JJ join us here in just a little bit, and it's hearing day. Yes, it is. So I have a lot. I got Muse I'm trying to get in, and it's great to see everybody here. I'm happy to have you, and let's get right to it. I just, real quick, I have a confession to make. I can't find my sunglasses. I think they're in the nether. They're in the nether, so Tony's here. Oh, you guys are cool. Halfway cool today. He's going to step out. And Twiz is watching. So, let's get right into it. There was something else. I forget what it is. It's about to rain out there. Like, crazy. News Nation did a piece today, and it's so excellent. The one part it's excellent. On the other part, it's weird. First of all, they didn't give credit to the person that everybody thinks discovered this DoorDasher thing. And secondly, they didn't vet their information whatsoever. They just ran with it. And it's solid gold. There's no questions to anything. Just go back home. Bryan, she saw Bryan there. So there's everything about it is true. And believe it. So, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was watching it on Dago's channel just a minute ago. It's a bombshell. It's a big bombshell. There's been so much follow-up stuff on it. I'm really surprised. Angie Wings, Donna Salamanda is in here, and we've got Truth and Justice, True Crime with Anna D. Very welcome in here. Tish Rhino. KLG74. You guys ready for some stuff? All right, let's get to it. I got a quick. I promise it's short. That's what she said, and I'm going to bring you my reel here just a moment, my friends. I know you love it. Here we go. Right into it, and we'll get right into the news, which there is definitely some bombshells in the news. But let's start at the beginning. Thank you for being here. Bye.
I'm already giving you some. A lot, all day. That's all you've been doing is begging for treats. Because they're in there. Someone left the cupboard open. You can see them all. What?
Euphigenia Doubtfire, dear. I specialize in the education and entertainment of 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 entertainment. Candy and the sun. Could you make me a woman? Showtime. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run daggers for you. Daggers for you. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run go pop some neurons. I know you're used to Lucy. Such a shunt. Such a shunt. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run.
Surprise.
Hip hop, bebop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop. Doesn't mean that they don't love hip hop, bebop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop.
Just the half Doubtfire. This looks exactly like my dog did. So beautiful, my dog. This bear one is a troublemaker.
Okay. Oh, that was nice. Like that. Ooh, nice. All right. Let me know when you can feel it kind of around there, okay?
Okay.
No, it's easy.
Oh.
Ooh.
I think they're being fed information, and they should be angry at this point too.
Yo.
Oh, hey, is Brittany there?
Yeah, man, she's sleeping, little bro. Like, I gave her a wild night.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you want?
I hope you guys are having fun. I don't really care. But I just got my test results back. Put her on real quick.
Wait, really?
She's got to get to the doctors, like, ASAP. She needs some antibiotics.
Yeah.
You have to put this in the dollhouse, right? I don't know if anybody saw my post, so I included it. This is real, I guess. Pretty cool. I'm surprised I didn't think of it, actually.
Bloodthirsty troops will show no fucking mercy. The finest boots will stomp upon your legacy. They will send your soul straight to the deity. Come on.
That was a rubber alligator, just so everybody doesn't get triggered on that.
Yo, KB, is that the name you claim? Rolling through genres, let me play this game. Rap like a madman, Eminem with the slang, spitting bars so sharp like a rap hangman. From YouTube fame to Idaho's wild ride, you're breaking it down, putting truths aside. Kane B got the purge, no doubt, he's the king, breaking down the case like a YouTube machine. Kane B the purge, bringing heat in the booth. Facts on the table, there's no room for proof. Throwing down lyrics while the world's watching. Is it guilty or free? That's the question we're knocking. Kane B the purge, taking Idaho by storm.
I kind of cut that out, but that was Kaylee and at her big sister thing.
We're all glued to this case, no one's letting go. Will Bryan be guilty or will he be let go? Kane B's in the game, watch him lay it all bare. Will justice find the truth or just disappear in the air? Here's my bubblegum pop, you ready or not? Kane B's in the mix with the case so hot. Rap, rock, pop, he's switching it up. Dancing through the genres like
I am so excited for some tasty waves this year. The coach is ready, the board is in the car. All I need is a bar of wax, and I'm good.
Boom, Kane B's riding with electric groove, breaking it down, yeah, he's on the move. He's got the purge, so come and watch him reign, sipping on knowledge like it's truth on a train. Kane B the purge, taking Idaho by storm.
That this was more political than it was real, and that this was a false narrative, and that this was a false narrative, and that this was a false narrative.
Guilty or will he be groove, breaking it Idaho by storm.
That this was more political than it was real, and that this was a false narrative, and that this was a false
You heard it there from the man himself. That's the guy. And alright, let's get right into news. Let me keep track of the... I told you it would be short and sweet. Yeah, I'm going to bring back the Ms. Doubtfire thing a little bit more. Kind of missed it. So, let's see. And let's see if it'll let me check. Hold on. Let me do something first. Dead air. Here's the court stream. Okay. And it looks like right now we've got waiting. It says 36 minutes and 51 seconds, which is just about perfect. Sleuthy sweetheart, welcome in today to the bird. We got Angel D up in here, large and in charge. She's thin-waisted. Alright, and she's wasted. I'm just kidding. Hi, Angel D. It's very nice to see you today. I'm Rowie. Yay! Alright, very good, very good, very good. Best of the best in you. And let me... I want to keep this open, so I'm not going to close it. But let's get right to music. So, as we all know, today is Wednesday, and this is happening meow. So, an Ada County judge will hear arguments on Wednesday on two key issues in the case against PK. And as the trial nears, Kohberger's defense team wants the judge to delay the trial and also wants to be allowed to submit evidence that someone other than Kohberger committed the crime. The defense specifically asked for a continuance because of a recent episode on the NBC's. And Judge Hippler required the defense and the prosecution to submit documents about who had that information to determine if someone violated the non-dissemination. The defense said there should be an investigation of the matter and the trial should be delayed while the information is sorted out. I'm not going to read this part because that's code. Both matters will be heard by the judge in hearings Wednesday. The hearings on the motion to continue will be open to the public and cameras. The arguments about presenting information about a possible alt-perp will be closed. The hearings are set to begin at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that air conditioner is a piece of crap. Okay, let's see here now. News Part 2. Prime Video to premiere docuseries on University. Okay. Just, that's out there. Produced and imagined by Amazon MGM Studios in collaboration with Skydance Television. They make miracles. Story Syndicate, James Patterson Entertainment, and Fairhaven. Whoa, that's loud. What is this? Okay, we don't need that right now. Sorry about the interruption. On night in Idaho. One night, the college things. Here we go. And so that'll be the release. Another hit piece. Real big hit. It'll be, okay, so I was talking about it though on Dago's show last night. Or yesterday or whatever. And I was like, what was I like? I forgot what I was like. Hold on, let me see what I was like again. Air conditioners, doing stuff. Oh, it'll be interesting to see because first off, the only clip they show in the trailer, if you guys have seen it yet, is that they have Maddie Mogan's mom or stepmom or whatever there. I think it's her mom. Yeah, it's her mom. And the only thing they show her doing is crime. So if there's any new info, or if that's just an old clip, I think it's just an old clip. But the other one was the Hunter Johnson and Emily. So I think that we'll gather more by hearing them speak, just as we have in every other case, right? When people finally start talking. And I think it was Jesse Schul yesterday that was saying the only thing you need to do with liars is just let them talk. And so somebody be lying. There's already some weird things just out of the trailer there, where she's talking about how all of a sudden we knew we'd been stalked for months. What? It's like the sudden realization. Not now, but right then, they knew they were stalked. What do you mean they or we? Somebody been stalking you, you'd been included, I can only assume. But like I said, it'll be word by word power play again. And maybe we can get Outcast to clean up. Just fuck around. Okay. Here we go. KFC and Mountain Dew's new creamsicle-inspired dirty soda is basically summer in a sip. I may have already covered that. Who cares? I may have. These may have already been stuff. Oh, this just came news. This is breaking news. Cops were searching for missing people inside a home. They found remains stored in jars, and that's the guy. Are you surprised? And I owe you guys a thing because I'm kind of loud. I meant to do the Hot or Not Criminals, just the tip game last week, and I didn't get to it. But it's still, I believe, I didn't mess with this. So it's at the tail end of this. So there'll be a couple repeat stories that I didn't want to mess with it, but there's a lot of news. So let's keep me on. Oh, no, let's read the story. Yes. Last week, Antoine and a woman named Christy Ward were reported missing by the family. When the deputy ran the vehicle's license plate, they determined the vehicle was registered to Antoine. Deputies went to the home to conduct a wellness check at the property. They note in their report that upon arrival, they began to smell an odd odor, wafting outside the house. Sorry. When they knocked, no one answered. So they obtained a search warrant for the property, and upon entering, found Antoine sitting on his couch. But they didn't just find Antoine. They also allegedly found stuff stored in plastic bins that had been taped shut. It's something out of a horror movie, very horrific. I submit to you guys today. Has the world gone banana sandwich, or is it just me? I'm pretty sure it's the world, because I didn't do it. I didn't do it. That's okay. And so Antoine appeared for a bond. Deputies still investigating. There was stuff in jars. Yeah, oh, nice. Hold on, wait a second. Business. Okay, that was hold one. Close one. Bryan Kohberger's student unaliving's trial faces new delays over intense publicity. And the trial of Bryan Kohberger, who's accused, the jury selection, guys, is 6 weeks away. And defense attorneys arguing they need more time. What's the headline? I got my game show voice. Once I started about just the tip. NPD is investigating a report of a fraudulent campaign. Okay, we did that one. I'm in game show mode. I need Kane. Yeah, here. Try it here. All right, here are the facts, ma'am, and only the facts. Okay, I clearly hit pause, right? You saw that. Bryan Kohberger case, second witness says him at crime scene. With great headline, Chris. Have a 13-year-old check your grammar. A DoorDash driver has told police she saw BK at the crime. Just wanted to mention where this is coming from. Just minutes before 4 universities. According to the body cam footage that surfaced ahead of a court hearing, the woman who defended only as MM in court documents made the statements during an unrelated DUI test. So just to make sure everybody's on the same page, did you see Heather Fitzgerald's post about the DoorDash welcoming their new DoorDasher in 2024, and it was Molly McMichael, the one who clearly saw him at 4 a.m. Yeah, she parked right next to him, and he just went ahead and did it anyway. Yeah, I parked right next to him. She's 43. Teen accused of... Okay, we got that one already. And, yeah. Chick-fil-A news, I wasn't really going to talk. That's just in there. Culver's has... questions, yep. Look at this fly in here. That's driving me crazy. Okay, moving on. So here we have a key witness. This is Good Morning America. I can't play. We all know about that. Okay, presidential memos, and that's the page. If you want to ever look back at Scott Green's posting history here, there it is for you. Enjoy. Get to the words. All right, this is fun. Bryan Kohberger update. Me. Private Eye recruiting volunteers. I sure Drip Drop has got his hand up. But he's so entrenched in Sigma Chi right now that he's enrolled. Yeah. Yep. What does he say? Yeah. Where have all the good ones gone? You're stuck with me, folks. All the good ones. Where have the good ones gone? Okay, this weekend, it's just worth reading to hear it. This weekend, a private investigator plans to lead a group of volunteers in a hunt for the knife used to unalive 4 students. Bryan BK Kohberger, 30, is accused of it. And they never located the thing, and then I think, God, this little tiny nose, I could almost get him. Hold on, wait. I'm going to strike like a cobra. I think there's a good probability that it would be found on the route between Moscow and Pullman. Along the routes, this guy's convinced he's guilty, I guess. Highway 95 and then north. Look at Sigma Chi. I'm just saying. Jennifer Jensen, a licensed private investigator with 30 years experience. The search area will span a 35-mile area. And it's, here we go, another typo again for Chelsea Whitaker. Dear Moscow and Pullman residents. You know, there was somebody at Dago's chat yesterday that dog got hurt by a deer. I hope they're recovering and resting well, whoever that was. That's why my dog. I tell stories all the time, and I really wish I hadn't, because they probably could have gotten ticks. But my dog used to chase deer on the golf course over there in Eastlake in Palm Harbor, back in the day. Let's see where were we. Dear Moscow and Pullman residents, I love you. All right, so moving on. I think these were supposed to go in the room. Oh, this is the big. 7 California men charged in largest jewelry heist in U.S. history. $100 million worth of gold, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and luxury watches from a Brinks semi-truck near San Francisco in 2022. Those charged are these guys. Prosecutors say these guys scouted the Brink semi-truck as it left a jewelry show in San Mateo. 6 of the men then followed the truck to a rest stop in Lebec, where prosecutors claim they broke in and stole 24 bags of jewelry. The guards noticed the lock had been broken around 2 a.m. They didn't call 911 for 8 hours. Pretty good. Okay. This is the big news today. And I'm not kidding, it's big, big, big news. Dan, Big Dan, good to see you, man. Hunted Breed, hello. This court does suck for the audio, that's for sure. That's a funny one. I like that. Yeah, no, you might as well hear everything they're saying. And I realize I enjoy being in other creators' chats just as much as anybody else, but I apparently am the only one to be able to figure out how to get the audio right. The Hippler's, he mumbles, he puts his hands over his mouth. The microphone's here. It should be here. There's our soldier. What's happening, Mr. Dog, man? Been thinking about you. That was a cool picture you sent, or you put out. I guess that's the plane that you got there on. I hope you'll just be chilling in Jacksonville, and nothing even crazier comes of all this craziness. This needs to de-escalate now. So if you guys don't know, Doug is possibly being called up for Middle Eastern activity. So that's on the hush hush. Don't let that leave this room. So M&M's has partnered with somebody, and who do you think it is? Who could it be? It's a limited collab with none other than Jurassic Park. With the arrival of Jurassic World Rebirth, and I saw the trailer, and it's exactly what we've all wanted Jurassic Park to be. It's like Jaws, Jurassic Park, all mixed into one. It looks good. And so it's called The Rebirth. This summer, one snack in particular is poised to take the viewing experience to the next level. The teaser trailer, and I'll post the link if you guys would like to watch it. Obviously, can't do stuff here anymore. Can't have fun no more. We used to have fun here. Do whatever we want. They're picking on me. Well, with the arrival of it and the teaser trailer, there it is, promises something is coming, and a new and deadly dinosaur, we're sure. But for those in the theater seats, that something will be yummy. That's because M&M's has a new collab with the movie, including 3 collectible packs coming to stores for a limited time. Here we are. New Jurassic World Rebirth. Peanut butter mega size. So they'll be Jurassic size M&M's. Yes, sir. And somebody was telling me the other day, you can never get enough peanut butter. I mean, typically Unique were talking about it, and I was like, a gallon of peanut butter at Costco. Pfft, that's just starters. So you can join the M&M's fun club. And Scarlett Johansson is in the Rebirth also as well. So guaranteed to be good. No, they're the peanut butter batchy. Peanut buttery, which are the best M&M's. They are my mega weakness. And these are the collectible ones. They've got the movie stuff on there. I've never seen them put movie stuff on there. I don't know. A Tampa-founded tech company just moved its headquarters to California. I don't know why that's... They're eating the dogs. Let's see. Okay. Oh, there's my... Alright, there's that. We'll get to that later. I don't know how that goes. Heather. She always be doing stuff. I honestly cannot not call Heather Lucy anymore. Even though she's still mad at me for blocking her last time. It was an accident. It was I mean, you guys should be on my side here. You haven't tried the peanut butter ones? They have almond ones. They have crispy ones. There are so many M&Ms for you to gorge yourself on. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe I'm disappointed and shocked. I'm telling your mom. I'm telling mom. What do we got here? Real. No, not the real. Dagnabbit, that one's supposed to be closed. Now the computer's going to be slow. Alright, let's check in on the courtroom, guys. And it says 16 minutes, 40 seconds. Still, haven't had coffee ones. Ooh, man, I'm talking smack to bat sheet. Coffee, I never even heard of that. So this will be the court stream today. Looks like Truth or Transparency's on the Karen Reed. We're still waiting for a verdict on that. And then Dago, also live. I have not seen now. Dinky said he was going to go live at around 2:15. So let's see if he has. Oh, Drunk Turkey's live too. Should we check in with them? No. No. I don't see Dinky. Yeah. Maybe he always runs a little late, and then he's got the 15-minute intro, and it's just basically everybody like, "Hi, how are you, Meanie? Hi, what's going on? Woke up." That's how Rockford describes my show. That's why you never see me chat. I'm like, dude, those people love you, man. And those are really cool people. Nah, I don't want to sit there and just say hi to everybody. I just want to make my point and get out. I can't buy them. Yeah, it's so good I can't buy them anymore. I heard you right there. I've had many a times when I was in like killer shape and a bowl of M&Ms. That's the problem. Here's the thing is, that's my problem. Is I eat them and now until I ate every one of them. I ate them till they're gone, and then I cut the lawn. Alright, let's see if we can find some more news to keep us entertained. Hold on, let me hide my email so Trish doesn't have a heart attack here. So far, this has been the best purge we've done yet. I gotta tell. Looks like we had a message from Double J. He's probably mad at me too. I told him. I told JJ. I literally told JJ that people were calling us the Muppetizers. And he said, I will wear that badge with honor, sir. It's a funny stuff. This is some good stuff from JJ. He's got a couple shows coming up here. Let me go through them real quick for you guys. If you want to join us in his amazing chat over there. And I guess I've never seen this logo, and it's called the Red PILL Cartel. Interesting. And this guy. Oh, Cosmic Peach has a nice logo. I like that. Can you guys see it? I can blow it up this way. I've never seen Cosmic Peaches. It's pretty cool. Alcohol Rejects, of course. Sure. You've got Kermit. a Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy, and a cow. I don't know if the Swedish chef has gone evil, and then the one that my big head's. I don't know why it's making me laugh. That will be an esoteric review of the movie Ghost Story, which I have not seen. I don't know if you guys. I just saw it with the Mel Gibson hair. And Danny. Look at the Mel Gibson. Somebody help me. Thank you for being here, everybody. We are going to get serious and watch it is hearing day. We kind of like to poke around and have some fun prior to it. And they're going to review the movie The Lethal Weapon. I don't know exactly what coming up. Excellent Muppetization. Well done, sir. Alright, let's see what else we got. Let me open the browser so JJ, I forgot to do that, I'm sorry. JJ can join us at any time at his leisure to discuss today's hearing. And it's going to be the same link, JJ. If you don't have it, there it is. Meow. Woke up 1984. Sounds like lyrics to a song. I woke up 1984. Or waking up to George Orwell. I don't eat much candy though. See, Doug, guys like you, guys like you, they drive me insane. 'Cause I eat all the candy, and my name is Kane. Why am I so addicted to candy? Candy's delicious. And so that's why I can't go to the store and buy candy and all this and have sweets around. I would love to just stock up, not have to go once a day to get something sweet, and it's more expensive, obviously. But if it's here and I have, say I have 3 boxes of Little Debbie snacks, how many boxes will I eat throughout the course of the day? That's right, 3 boxes. You guessed it. That's what happens. Okay, let me see. Copy the link. Did I put it in the chat? I don't know. I'm going to do it again. There's JJ's link. He'll probably need 7 minutes to go over that. Dan the Man, Big Dan, Big Back Dan. Big Back Dan, Big Back Dan, Big Back Dan, Dan. All right. Okay, we got a hearing to attend to here. Kang. I'm telling you, his friend, Kang. That guy's a preacher now. We used to say, I don't even know if I could say it on YouTube. Maybe in the form of a song. Cause I bang bang. It doesn't even sound right if I say it now. I'm just not gonna do it. They're riding me like a borrowed circus pony. You folks have no idea. There he is. Alright, let's see. I wanted to read some documents while we're at it. Listen, I like bacon too. If I make a pack of bacon, guess how much bacon I eat? It's your fault, darn it. Alright, let's see the next one here. Okay, there was one that was interesting reading that Chelsea Whitaker was reading last night. And I might live stream her live stream. And then just hear, because it was kind of interesting the way she was reading it. So if I live stream her live stream, then she won't understand. But, well, look, Look, there's far more guilters than there are Kohbergers, you guys. Here's proof. Look, 406 watching. We have 24 here. But this is the best 24. And hey, the stock is spread thin among the herd here today. So I welcome everybody in. And if you are watching The Purge for the first time, I'm KB. Please hit that like button. Right, it's just right there, and it's free, and it won't cost you anything. It just takes 1 second, just one little, and then just subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Please hit that. Jump on in the chat. Meanie, don't bite. And also, whatever my point was about talking about it is, yeah, okay. So let me see here. That goes away. This one came out to play. Ooh-wee, looks like we're on to something here, folks. So, there's 20, they live. Oh, the 23 hump, okay. We were looking to beat that 23 hump. Welcome in, they live, alright. And, let me see here. Probably be a minute before they're up. Let's take a look here. I'll be honest with you. Fracadaclus, is that? Is that my chat? Alright. Does anybody know if Dinky ever went live? Let's tell you here. Right. Oh, it looks like Dinky's up. Dinky's up and running. Okay, if you guys want to flee over there. Let's check on the dink. Oh gosh, why are they so loud, dude? Oh, at least I had it muted. Thank goodness. There you go. Cara Willis and Willie's over there. They lives over there also. Justice for Maddie. And nothing's over there. Okay. Hello, friends. I would honestly be in the chat with you guys over there if I wasn't intent on making sure that we're able to hear what Hitler says. But I tell you, if he mumbles one more thing under his breath, I'm going to absolutely lose my tootly. Maybe they've improved it, and maybe everybody will get good audio here. I don't know. Who knows? It could happen. So, that's probably Lana. Yeah, he's playing the Lana video. So, yeah, I'll do that. I'll have like 4 or 5 streams open at a time. Keep up with the chats and stuff like that. And let's see here. We got 8, 9 in there. Growing quickly. So, let's see, what's the stream thing? Oh, that's probably a link for Dinky. Alright, let's check in on the hearing. Oh, we'll be getting soon. Do I need to hit play or anything? Okay. That's weird, they switched back to YouTube. Username, well, hello there, welcome in. Because if you remember, let me small this here real quick. When they had it before, they had a link over here, and it was watch the hearing live, or whatever it says now, and it went to some weird streaming page, which wasn't YouTube. So now I guess they've reverted back to, I don't even remember, something like that. But now we're at full YouTube thing back to normal, which I didn't trust it at first, but when I went to it, it said 70 watch waiting, and now it's 710 watching, waiting for this to start. So okay, we'll keep checking on that. We got, well, it should have started by now. Interesting. Let me make sure I unmute this here. Oh, I haven't even put my gain on that sucker yet. This Kohberger here. Let's see here. I gotta make sure, otherwise I'm not doing what I said I'm gonna do. 14. What did we at last time? 14? We'll go 15 this time. So I just don't trust that squirrely Hitler. He's a squally one. I'll minus 12 this, and I will. So here's the filter I put on it. Just so other people know how to do it, so I'm not the only one. I have to do it every time. Put a gain filter on there if you're using OBS. Crank up your gain. And then I can't figure out how to put a filter on, for God's sake. Close that. See? And then so now it'll be over here, and you can ride your fader up and down. And that's how it's done. Just as simple as that. I'm happy to share that with anybody. No problem. And if you want to use this stream to show the hearing, I'm going to keep my face out of it. I'm going to put my logo, of course. But other than that, it is yours to use. So please feel free to use my audio or video for your restream or stream. Okay? And let's see. Okay. And let's see. Okay, yep. Alright, and now that's gonna get moved over here. Hold on one more second. Sorry about the dead air. No Kane, no Kane. Yeah, I got you on the thing. How do you make your music? Do you use a MPC or one of those things? I was curious about it. And I'm always happy to help anybody that wants to do music, of course, or any channel that's just starting out. So that's why I was over on your page over here. Or that's where I was trying to go. We don't need Dinky right this second. So, yeah, 11:30 Mountain. Okay, yeah, I had it at 2:15. I guess that was just wishful thinking. I rickrolled myself, Doug, this way. Don't do that live on camera. Okay, so I was trying to get. I use robots. That is the one thing about it. Doug is not a fan of the robot music. The one that they did for JJ though was pretty good. So it's coming along. It's obviously gonna be more. That's They Live right there. I use a pen and paper. Those are the tools right there, bro. I tell you. I've got a whole shoulder. I got one of those urban shoulder bags. It's not a purse. I got one of those for my lyrics. All my lyrics are up in there. I got some in a binder. So once you can see in the background here, while we wait for the court to begin, I have my guitar back, and you can see if you look closely at the Flying V one. Oh, sorry. That the wire is still hanging down. I can't find the plate. It's in here. I have it. But I can't find the plate to secure it back in and put my wireless transmitter back onto it and all that stuff. So when I do find that, I have the lady coming Monday again. She came and pulled weeds yesterday. So she's coming on Monday to help me sort through all this mess. You can imagine, ladies, bachelor's house. So yeah, we'll find it then. We'll put it back on. Sorry to delay that jam rockin' vocal. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Jackson Hewitt. What? I'm really anticipating. I want to go back and read some more Muse. JJ had promised to come on at some point for a little bit. Perhaps he's still sleeping in. We'll let him have his piece today, but we'll probably see him if they do a break or for a little. Probably prefer to do a little rebuttal after we hear what does actually transpire. So one of the key things that I'm looking for out of this, you guys, is for Anne to continue to do what she's done in previous hearings, where they've had a closed forum is inadvertently leak or discuss in open court something they talked about in the hearing that was closed that day. So it will be interesting to see, since there hasn't been any even mention, let alone repercussions for it, of her slipping up and trying to keep the public aware of what is really going on in secret. So keep an ear tuned for that. I'm out of breath. I need to. I don't know. I can play some guitar. So yeah, keep tuned. Ears tuned for that. What else is there? That's about it. So this is what we're here for. We'll see if they come out swinging. Now wait a second. Okay, there. I can't even see it until I do. When I do that, you can see my logo. Oops. I wanted to play Miss Potts' live from yesterday, even though it was brief. It was nice to see her again, because I guess I missed the last one. I must have been live or whatever. So let's see what we get now. They're running long or something like that. They always run, honestly, like a half hour long coming back from lunch. So you never know. I figured that the 2:30 time slot was a fantasy to begin with, But anyway, so okay, that's about all. Let's just wait for it to start. I'm still here with you. I'm just gonna go off screen so they don't ride my channel like a borrowed circus party like they always do. Boom. I gotta really ride this mixer, so I'm not gonna be able to do much else once I can't really do. Chopping it up. Miss Potts went live. I'm surprised. She said she doesn't play. She didn't have good experience doing the hearings. I didn't know Miss Potts was live. There she is. Hello. Hi there, Miss Potts. It's been a crazy day so far. Hi, Deborah Ackland. Very nice to see you. Yeah, I'm very much. My biggest hope is that, because we're 6 weeks away from jury selection and the hearing and all that, or the trial, right? 6 weeks to the trial or till jury selection. Either way, we're definitely going to see. Are you live, Miss Potts? I thought that They Live said. Oh, you just read one doc real quick. Okay, now you're here. Okay, cool. Thank you. I see. It takes me a minute to. Are you gonna live stream my live stream? I wanted to live stream your live stream. I wanted to live stream the Squirrel Girl, Chelsea Whitaker's live stream also as well. Squirrel Power to her. Yeah, no, we're just sitting here on the edge. To be honest with you guys, and it's not against you guys. It's nothing personal. I have a baked potato and some of the world's best sausage I've ever made, and it's waiting right there. And I want to you've just read it. You're like the sniper queen lately. It's like, can't get off my live stream. You could have at least done a trip to Dollar Store and or Dollar Tree and Five Below. I'm digging Five Below, except for, you know what the problem is, Miss Potts? Like, okay, I have a Dollar Tree right there, and then across the plaza over there in Largo Mall, they have the Five Below. But we have the most ghetto Five Below. The Dollar Tree is also ghetto. I used to work there. They have no air conditioning. So you literally go in there and you're sweating to the oldies. And then they don't even have like t-shirts at this Five Below, which and then they think they're Hollister or something because they have up to size large, and I'm like, wait, come on. Oh my goodness. Do my eyes? Oh my gosh. It's Meanie Weenie, folks. Meanie Weenie. I'm the only one who can call her that. Welcome back. Nice to see you. Yay. I'm going to eat that potato. I want to get a couple bites in. I'll be honest with you, I had a couple bites of sausage already. Oh my gosh. But I want to get a couple bites of potato. I'm on a potato kick right now. I'm trying to do... I just figure that the potato falls into the carnivore by association, because it's meat and potatoes. It's natural. It's not like, it's not like I'm eating a donut, which I'm going to eat a donut, let's be honest. But you have Twizzles. Judge Twiz is in the house for the hearing today. Welcome in. He's another guy like me that will have 5 lives open, Dinky and everybody. And I did check in with Dinky, but I'm trying to take this one very seriously, especially for Miss Potts to do replays on. So I'm going to be on top. I'm not going to miss the first 10 minutes and screw up the audio. So I've got it set right now. You can see over at 10.2 minus dBs. And then I put my gain filter on. And that's all you have to do. If Miss Potts ever decides she wants to use Video Ninja, if she ever becomes a converter, she'll know what to do. Yeah, Leslie and Billy, welcome. I hope you're doing very, very well. Yeah, okay, so potato time. I'm me like this, watching the screen to see if it pops on. But we're ready and recording right now. So if something does pop up, I will be here. And you can listen to the delicious sounds of me mewing my potato and sausage. Yeah, I'm sure you're grunting or something like that. Let me see if this... It was weird. We're going to get some rain. Okay? I'm not going to lie. It's coming. So there is a chance. So keep your fingers crossed. Applesauce here. That we are able to power. But the power hasn't been, knock on wood, the power hasn't been going down. Let me see if I can... See, it's so blown out, it won't even... That's how you fix that. And, see if we can see out the window. Oh, fingers crossed. Applesauce. Let's see. This video captured. I can't really see. It's so blown out. Because it's Florida, guys. Oh, here we go. The hearing is on.
All right, this is CR 0124316665, State v. Kohberger. On behalf of the state, we have Mr. Thompson and Mr. Horwitz. And on behalf of, when I should note the defendant is present with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoth, and Ms. Barlow. This is the time set for, or at least the public portion of today's hearing is set for the motion to continue the trial filed by the defense. So we'll start with that.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, our motion to continue has been filed and is necessary to protect Bryan Kohberger's rights under the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of Idaho. Specifically, a continuance is necessary to protect his due process rights, his rights to a fair trial, his rights to effective assistance of counsel, rights to confrontation, Mr. Kohberger's right to present a full defense, and if it should come to it, a fair sentencing hearing and to be free of cruel and unusual punishment. The record of this case spans 2.5 years, and it shows that this request does not come as a surprise. Looking through the history of this case shows that the defense has met challenges and difficulties along the way, but has been dedicated in meeting all of the deadlines. We have talked about the discovery issues in this courtroom before, and that in large part brings us to need a continuance. 68 terabytes of information is a huge amount of information. There have been 23 requests for additional discovery over the span of 2.5 years, and 7 motions to compel. When I say that this doesn't come as a surprise, that this comes from the record, I would direct the court to look back to May of 2023 and June of 2023, and our second motion to compel. Included in that was what was known as Exhibit A from the defense, and that depicted how we were receiving discovery. So this is not a new issue. This is something that's been coming up for a long time. We were receiving discovery, but it was such that you would get a file that would say hundreds of photographs, hundreds of pages of reports, each having to be looked at individually to know what was there and then organized. This case has also faced unique issues, starting with the media coverage of this high-profile case, non-dissemination orders that were addressed in courts, and then the grand jury materials that we had to fight to get access to before we could properly challenge the grand jury indictment. We faced issues with discovery, particularly with the IGG materials. We spent a great deal of time trying to get access to those materials. Those were ultimately, what we could get was ultimately presented in a motion to suppress, and that's preserved should there be a conviction in this case. We faced venue issues in this case, culminating in the change of venue and bringing us to Ada County. At the first hearing in this courtroom, we discussed the discovery issues and not having read everything and being ready with a full investigation in this case. That was apparent through our motions to strike the death penalty, our motions to compel expert disclosures filed in September and December of 2024, and requests for more time to file our motions in limine that was granted in January of 2025. Throughout the course of the motions in limine and then a motion to strike death based on discovery issues in February and March of this year, the record is replete with notice that we are not prepared to go to trial in this case. The discovery is vast and we have not had a chance to review it all. That we met deadlines for experts shows our dedication to comply with court orders. It does not depict effective counsel ready to go to trial on this case. We would submit that it's the court's responsibility to assess this motion to continue with heightened due process that's required in death penalty cases. The death penalty case is different. That comes from Ford versus Wainwright at 477 U.S. 399 at 411. The court must be sensitive to safeguard every avenue of due process. The Idaho Supreme Court said the qualitative difference between death and other penalties calls for a greater degree of reliability when death is imposed, and that comes from State versus Creech, 105 Idaho, 362 at 383. Looking at all of the constitutional rights Mr. Kohberger has, effective assistance of counsel really becomes the crux of how all of these other rights are covered for Mr. Kohberger. An effective assistance of counsel applies both to the merits phase and the penalty phase of a death penalty case. The courts are guided and counsel's guided by the American Bar Association guidelines on capital cases. Wiggins versus Smith, 539 U.S. 510 at 524, said the ABA guidelines are guides to determine what is reasonable. And that's talking about reasonable performance by defense counsel in a capital case. The Ninth Circuit in Andrews versus Davis at 944 F3D 1092 at 1109 relies on the ABA guidelines as the proper measure to test an attorney's investigation. In Idaho, our public defender statutes reference the ABA guidelines as applying to indigent defense. These apply to the full investigation of the merits phase and require us to raise all legal claims. They require us to perform a background on all witnesses that might be called, especially those being called by the state. That means that we have to review all discovery to be able to present a full defense for Mr. Kohberger. We cannot present what we are not aware of. I would note for the court that discovery has been ongoing. I received discovery just this week. It is discovery that I have not reviewed yet. Considering what's required at a penalty phase in a capital case, we're required to perform in a way that the jury can carry out their function of individualized sentencing. That means that Mr. Kohberger's background has to be known and investigated and ready to present to the jurors. Evidence of his character has to be known and ready to present to the jurors, and his circumstances have to be known and ready to present to the jurors. That's addressed in the Woodson case and in the Lockett case. The jury must have the opportunity to consider all evidence that may weigh against the death penalty, and that means anything from his life history. It is the duty of the defense to find and investigate all mitigating information. We do have several experts that would be ready for the mitigation portion of the case, should the case reach that phase, and they rely on understanding family history and Mr. Kohberger's own history. They can only understand what they've been presented, and the investigation to fully evaluate needs to be thorough. That means that records have to be collected. That means that interviews, collateral interviews have to be done, and those have not all been completed. And it's not because of a lack of diligence in this case. Further, when things that are noted as red flags arise, those things must be investigated. Red flags aren't fanciful ideas of what else could we do in this case. They're real things that come up in the course of the investigation, and whether or not they're important to mitigation and presentation for a jury's consideration requires time to investigate and collect records. Documentation is very important. The court's aware that red flags have come up and they require further investigation. Those are issues that may mean a lot to the experts that would be ready to testify, but they can't be presented until there's a full investigation. They are things that might change the course of the evaluation or might require us to have an additional expert to help explain certain circumstances. And that's important for the individualized sentencing that's required by the Constitution. Your Honor, there have been numerous challenges with gathering records and interviewing collateral witnesses. I know the court is aware of some of those particular issues. I'm not going to highlight them now, but it's imperative that we be able to collect records and conduct interviews from other family members besides just Mr. Kohberger and his parents. And it's also imperative that his history be complete with educational records, medical records, and those things are still being done to this day. The other reason that a continuance is appropriate in this case is based on the media coverage, the Dateline issue that has been talked about in this courtroom before, and what's yet to come. The Dateline episode wasn't just a one-time deal back in May. That continues to be talked about. Everything that happens in this case continues to be talked about, and this court has a duty, a responsibility to make sure that Mr. Kohberger receives a fair trial. That comes from Shepard versus Maxwell, 384 U.S. 333. And a continuance may be the way that the court can best protect Mr. Kohberger. That comes from Patton versus Yount, 467 U.S. 1025. In addition to what is going on with what happened with the Dateline episode, that's not all. There's a book set to be released just a few weeks from now to be followed by a docuseries on Amazon Prime. There's a claim that there's inside sources that provide information in this case. At the very least, the moment we start attempting to select a jury in this case, those things are going to be on everybody's TV, everybody's social media feed, and some of the very witnesses that will be expected to testify will be taking part in the docuseries at least, and maybe noted in the book. That is, in and of itself, an exceptional reason for us to have a continuance to let those things play out for a while. I would also note, Your Honor, that jury selection is going to be particularly challenged and will need a great deal of time based on what's happened in the media and continues to happen. Your Honor, our request is for a continuance in this matter to allow us to be effective and perform our constitutional duty for Mr. Kohberger, to protect his constitutional rights, to make sure that we have fully investigated all mitigating circumstances so the jury, if it comes to it, can perform their individualized sentencing, judgment, and function, and to allow some space between what's recently happened in the media. Thank you.
May I, Your Honor?
Of course.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will, I think, address Ms. Taylor's argument sort of in the reverse order in which she raised the issues that she raised. I want to begin, though, by bringing us and the court back to what the standard is for this motion to continue as opposed to what might happen after a conviction with respect to ineffective assistance of counsel. Right now, the standard is whether denying a continuance would violate the defendant's rights by causing unfair prejudice. And that is an objective standard that the court has, and the court has discretion on all motions to continue, including a motion to continue in a case such as this that involves the death penalty. What the defendant and counsel are asking the court to do is delay this trial because of their subjective, prospective beliefs about how an ineffective assistance of counsel evaluation would happen by an appeals court if there is a conviction. What this court should do is use its discretion and look at the objective record. The record supports denying the motion based on what the defense has been doing, continues to do, and will continue to do through the mitigation phase until the penalty phase, including presenting mitigation evidence that the jury will ultimately decide about if there is a conviction. The lens that the court should look at is well stated, through which the court should look at this motion is well stated in some Idaho case law and others. And if I can turn on the Elmo, do I need to hit this button, Your Honor?
And clerk needs to switch it over.
Okay, thank you. So these are cases that we cited in our brief, and I wanted to start my discussion with them. I'll read the top case, which is an Idaho Supreme Court case, evaluating whether counsel was effective in a death penalty case. Counsel was not required to investigate defendant's entire life in order to objectively and reasonably present mitigation evidence. And then I like the way that the Seventh Circuit sort of rephrased the same principle by saying, I won't read the entire quote, Your Honor, but a scorch the earth strategy is not required. We're in a standard of reasonableness. And the record that is before the court, and I'll acknowledge we have not seen what specifics, if any, the defense has put forward in its ex parte filing.
It's kind of hard for you, I recognize.
It does, but we have not seen specifics. I did not hear any specifics from counsel just now about these witnesses need to be contacted, these records need to be obtained. And then the court, I think, mentioned at prior hearing we had when this was motion to continue was first raised, that the court would be looking at what admissible evidence the defense needs to obtain and what strategies would actually be used to fruitfully obtain that evidence. And we don't have anything specific that we can respond to about that. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage, Your Honor, but I think the record that we do have shows that the court can use its discretion to deny this motion to continue. What we did in our response brief, Your Honor, was to cite the fact that the defense has identified 55 defense witnesses for mitigation, and I think one was recently added, so we're up to 56, 132 exhibits to use at the mitigation phase. And with respect to the ABA standards, we're not saying the court should completely ignore them, but what we are saying is that the court should look at them for what they are, which is a retrospective tool for appellate courts to look at the performance of counsel after a conviction, not some checklist that needs to be religiously adhered to in order to actually get to trial. Even if the court were to rely on them heavily, though, the charts that we put together show that for each of the ABA guidelines categories that the defense has raised, we have seen evidence in the record that shows that they have witnesses to talk about those issues and they have discovery on those issues themselves. Now, defense has called that superficial, but we would ask the court to look at the tables and look at the witnesses that we've been able to identify for each category and also the discovery in the record. So, Your Honor, again, we think that given the legal standards here on a motion to continue, given the court's discretion, given that we are in a world where the court needs to satisfy itself that defense has done a reasonable job to prepare for trial, there is no basis for a motion to continue. Now, let me turn to some of the specific arguments, and I can take this down, Your Honor, that Ms. Taylor raised. With respect to the media coverage, we acknowledge, as the court has, that will pose challenges for jury selection. The issue, though, is not whether there is a lot of publicity. We know there's going to be a lot of publicity regardless of when this trial happens. As Ms. Taylor said, people will continue to talk about this case. The issue is whether the court, using the procedures it has established, or maybe even modifying them as the court wants to, can seat a panel of impartial jurors. The Supreme Court of Idaho has found that despite widespread publicity, even on the day of jury selection, that is possible. That is possible in this case, despite the challenges. The other thing I would mention with respect to the publicity is that it puts us at the whim of the media. Every time there's a breaking story, every time there's a new book or a new documentary, are we going to continue the trial indefinitely? And that seems to be the danger in what the defense is asking for. We call it a perpetual continuance, and we haven't seen a proposal about when this trial could take place. If there's a continuance, what seems to be the strategy here is just to delay. And that leads me to, I think, the other point that Ms. Taylor raised, which was to say that this shouldn't be a surprise. It is a surprise to us that a motion to continue was made so late in the game, after, by the way, the trial date was used to oppose an extension that we filed for with respect to our mental health expert. At that point, the defense said we can't possibly go down this road or give the government the state what it wants because of the trial date. Once that issue is resolved, then we get a motion to continue. So I think what we have seen from the defense is that they tried to use the mass amount of discovery to remove the death penalty from the table. When that failed, now we have a motion to continue. So I do think timing is relevant here. Again, and it's not just that the defense waited so long, it's that we now have a very substantial record on which the court can deny this motion based on everything that's been put in front of the state and the court. In terms of the mitigation investigation, Your Honor, we believed but did not have confirmation that the defense had a mitigation specialist until the reply brief on this motion alluded to an affidavit that mitigation specialist submitted. So I don't know what that says. I don't know what the mitigation specialist has said, but the fact that there is a mitigation specialist, apart from the 3 attorneys and 2 investigators that are part of the defense team, that person has one role, as I understand it, which is to prepare for the penalty phase if we get there. And that person, that specialist, has still time to continue doing whatever work they told the court they need to do. Your Honor, again, I would try to get back to the record and ask the court to look at the objective record when evaluating this motion. 55 mitigation witnesses, over 130 exhibits, a very robust team on the defense side, which includes their retained experts. Ms. Taylor, and in the briefing, really honed in on this idea of a social life history for the defendant. I don't know if the court has read the expert reports of the defendant's forensic psychiatrist and then the licensed psychologist. I won't discuss the details in open court, but our position is that both of those specialists, well-trained, very experienced specialists, conducted significant, fulsome life history investigations. They weren't just looking at bare records. They were talking to people from the defendant's past, from his present, his family, and developed parallel life histories. And in their reports, as I read them, no red flags that needed further investigation were noted. Nothing about those reports appeared to be incomplete, and the experts didn't say we are unable to reach the conclusions we need to reach for lack of investigation. So I think that is sort of proof in the pudding. We have a life history for the defendant. The defense has amassed significant materials, and I thought we were going to be solely talking about the mitigation case that still needs to be developed. That is not a basis for a continuance. And to the extent there are ongoing discovery from the state that Ms. Taylor alluded to, I can represent that most of what was just turned over was our investigators speaking with witnesses that the defense has disclosed. So that's the nature of that discovery, is us responding to discovery from the defense. And that will continue, of course, to occur as we lead up to trial and witnesses make statements that we need to disclose to the defense. So with that, Your Honor, I would again rest on the case law holding that a scorch the earth investigation is not what's required. And on the record before the court should exercise its discretion to deny the motion. If the court has any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, we would submit on the record before the court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any reply?
Yes, thank you. I would start with noting that if the new discovery is the state's contact of witnesses we've listed, the state knows that there are mitigation witnesses that we've listed because we had to disclose them, but they are people that have refused to speak with us. That presents a challenge in the case. A lot of the witnesses that refuse to speak with us have to do with records, medical records of Bryan Kohberger, past treatment records of Bryan Kohberger. Those are important things that the gravity of what they have to say can't be known to our experts until we have the opportunity to fully understand those things. And we continue to work on access to witnesses and access to additional information. Your Honor, I want to touch on just a couple of points. One, when the court considers a continuance and considers whether Bryan Kohberger's rights are violated, his right to a fair trial, his right to confront witnesses and evidence against him, his right to present a full defense, and his right to effective assistance of counsel are implicated and laid out in our motion to continue. The ABA guidelines require us to do a full investigation. It's not going scorched earth to understand Bryan Kohberger's full life history. These are things that are required. And we've done everything that we can. We have had a mitigation expert on the case. This is 2.5 years into a case, and the average for capital cases is 3.5 years
In federal court,
in federal court.
which moves at a snail's pace in its best day in regular cases.
I'm not a practitioner in federal court, so I don't have any basis to talk to the court about that. But what I can tell you is that a capital case where we have a client and we need to investigate both the merits phase and a penalty phase at the same time takes time. In any case, it takes time to do that. In this case, with the high-profile nature and having people decline to talk to us presents a whole set of challenges that we have to find a way to work through. As the court knows, a lot of mitigation information is very sensitive information. It takes some time to be able to get people to talk about things. Realities exist too. Not all of the family members are in the same place. So there's travel that's required. All of those things take time to do in a case like this. 2.5 years is excessively fast to put all of that together. There was no delay in having a mitigation expert on board. There was no delay in getting investigators to work on the case. And as soon as issues became apparent, Mr. Kohberger's team did not delay in getting experts to help us understand specific areas of the case. Looking over the entire record, the court can see that the defense team has been diligent about discovery, about motion practice, about litigating issues in the case. There just still is a lot left to do. There is still a lot left that is not known. And Mr. Kohberger has a right to go to trial with prepared counsel that have conducted a full investigation in both phases of the case. When you have a certain amount of information and there's this other stuff that's out there, that's a red flag, that's real, that you need to investigate, your experts can only do what's here, what's been investigated, what's been produced for them to assess. This whole other area, that land between the red flags and the investigation, that's an unknown area. That's where there's ineffective assistance of counsel. That's where there's not a fair trial. That's where there's not an individualized sentencing proceeding. And it's that area that requires a continuance in this case.
All right, I'll take the matter under advisement and get an opinion out in short order. In the meantime, I fully encourage everyone to continue as if the trial is going to take place when it is scheduled for. Again, I reserve the right to write the decision that I come to, but as of now, I would tell you that it's likely you're going to trial on the date indicated. All right, is there any other matters that we need to take up in the public session before we break to go to the private session?
Nothing further in the public session, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, I don't believe so.
All right, we'll take a 10-minute break while the bailiffs clear the courtroom and we set up for the private session. All rise, please.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's nice. What? Okay. Hurwitz, really, dude? Really? I didn't hear anything specific mentioned about needing a continuance. Okay, right, dude. I think she was as specific as she could. And it was all Hitler could do not to interrupt Anne every other word. But of course he had to contradict her in as far as a federal hearing takes longer, and this one is moving at, or it would be moving at a snail's pace. That is absolutely outrageous. I don't know if that's the last that we'll see. I guess I'll hang out and we'll find out here. They have a closed portion. They're already at noon o'clock over there in Ada County. So if there's going to be more to... Oh, that ended the live stream. Looky there. Wowzers. Let's refresh the page. Interesting. Okay, so this is going to be a redacted portion. They did not mention whether or not they're coming back. I guess they called this the public portion there. So that'll be interesting to see. Wow. Alright, let's check on some more news, huh, shall we? So we got the little break, 10-minute break, and then a closed portion of the hearing. So I don't know, maybe this whole thing started at 11:30, actually at 11:30, and they're only planning on going a little bit public, a little bit private. So I think that was it. And Meg P would be like, Kane, the trial's over. The hearing's over. Where is Meg P? Everybody's mad at me today, I guess. Inequity. I like it. Iniquity. So let's see here. JJ, if you'd like to join me for a little quick discussion on the Muppet Show we saw here just now. That's the least amount of work I've had to do in any hearing so far. So God bless them, they kept it short. And once again, another thing I noticed is we got the same answer you get when you asked your parents whether you go to the party on Friday night, and they'll take it under advisement. So you can only imagine what that means there. I'll let you fill in the blank. Ugh, yeah, that I'm literally got like not the SMR chills, but the just greasy bottom feeder. No, who said no wonder he was fired? That was great. I was dying on that one. Okay. He is, I can only say he is certainly a meek speaker. And I'm going to say his political office is under a lot of pressure. Now, one thing, not guilty, really, well, congratulations. Did they give her a speeding ticket? Did they finally give her the ticket? As I kept saying to Carrie, it's like, this is a traffic. A dog bit the guy. Come on. To get checked out is my guess. That's a pretty dang good guess. Gosh, if I could be a fly, I was hoping that they had the redacted portion of the hearing prior to, so that Anne had a little chance to slip some nuggets out. She got a year for the OUI. Yeah, they call it an OUI. I don't know what that. Anyway, yeah. Well, good for her. Turtle Boy certainly. That's twice today. Or I would say 3 times this week that YouTube has literally affected the news. You know, you had the Vegas thing, And then you had now News Nation is getting its news from YouTube, wherever this DoorDasher BS came from. And a lot of people said that's what Steve G was talking about, that there's witnesses. They didn't list him as a witness on the PCA. You would think that if somebody saw him at the crime, that would have been number one. Right? So, again, this is something that somebody said. And it's somebody who, at the very least, has a shady bracket. I got apple pie narcotic. Darn it. Did you just donut up me? I just got donut upped again. I have a buy one, get one free for Alessi Bakery donuts today. So I'm going to be on top of that. Hopefully you're having a great day. If you're new to the Purge, please hit that subscribe button and hit like. And make sure you get over there to Operation GCD Podcast and do the same. I appreciate it. If you're just watching or lurking, and if you're another creator, please feel free to use this audio and video at your discretion to make me look like a fool. At the beginning, I guess I'd forgotten to put the game thing. I didn't hit save, maybe. So there was a little panic at the beginning. It was a little loud. I apologize. I think I cleared the room without, like, best audio. It's too loud. So I threw that on there at the last second. Thankfully, I did, because both Hurwitz and Hippler were very low. Ann was about 2 decibels low, so we got her fixed up, and I think it was about as consistent of an audio that I've done for a hearing yet. I would looking back, honestly, it's again very telling of who people are, but it was uneventful, really. Bill Thompson sat his happy ass down, and he's out of it. I mean, he's gone. He's gone. Hurwitz is going to get rid of him. That's the old business. Now they have to present a whole new happy, shiny face. One's coming to trial in a month and a week. And it sounds like it's going to happen, guys. Which is bad news for me, because I'm not caught up even close enough, unless some miracle happens the next month, to get on the road to Moscow. So I'm going to be sitting on pins and needles right here at the Purge, waiting to get this decision from old Papa Hippler there. And if I get a 3-month continuance, everything is trucking. And we're on track. I've had about a month and a half to get there, and everything, it all comes in at once, and I got it done, and it's going to take a miracle and a lot of driving to get there. But it is my goal. If I have to ride a bus out there and sleep on the street, I'll do it, as long as my rent's paid back here. So, wow, yeah, he definitely is coming with I would call it a more violent approach than Thompson. And Thompson is just kind of like a confuddled grandpa at all times. Hurwitz is like, no, this is the way it's going down. We got it all. We've given it to them. We don't get repercussions. We do whatever we want. And that's how it's going to be. And then Ann gets up there with her rebuttal, and Hippler's just, his old self comes shining right through. Yeah, very much. Yeah, thankfully for that. I'm not trying to, the George after appears to be someone. Oh, yeah, absolutely. If she thinks she saw him, like I said, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility that she stopped and saw somebody with as bright as those headlights and taillights are in the video we see at SV1. I don't know how she could make out anybody. I mean, when you're driving at night, try it tonight if you go out in the dark. And driving by anybody's car at any speed, you're going, say, 20, they're going 20. And tell me that you can see in their car at night who that person is. Good luck with all that. And Jules from All Verns did a trade show last night where she convincingly demonstrated that the car in that video did have a front license plate, which BK at that point had not attained. So that would make SV Car 1 not his car, even though they tried to hide what make and model it was by overblowing. Here's what you notice about the SV1 video, the car video with those beams, is that it literally looks like somebody pasted over like one of those kablammy things you saw on the old Batman show, or kaboom. It's like they just, because it doesn't vary, it's just one consistent blind you from the truth that follows the car. They did an excellent job following the car, but light fluctuates and you're bumping on the road. It doesn't do that. It's not beams of light. It's like literally they put a mask over the taillights and the headlights. It's in and the angles to which it's impossible. So, are you out of here, Doug? All right, man. Thank you for your service, brother. I hope you get sent back home very, very quickly, and get back to making some more music for us here. We love it. Thank you for being here today, man. Yeah, there's a very good likelihood that she did not see whoever was in the car that night. If she was, okay. How could she have pulled up next to him when she'd already been gone for 5 minutes? It's impossible. I ate moonflower last night. I think that's the end game, as far as, like I kept saying in the chat, is that she is, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. She is oh, good Jiminy Joseph. I need a defibrillator. Are you carrying a defibrillator on you? Awesome. You got to keep one out in the country where you are there, Mr. Muppeteer. How'd you like that Saturday Night Live video? That's right. Yes, welcome in, sir. Happy Kohberger Day. Oh, nobody can hear you yet. Hold on.
Stuff. I enjoyed that.
I had you muted, sir.
All things Muppets.
All things Muppets, yes. We have JJ Vance from Operation GCD here, joining us for a rebuttal on Horowitz's Muppetization of a trial today. What do you think, JJ?
Yes, sir. I always appreciate the invite, Kane.
Yeah, man.
JJ Vance, not the vice president. Not the vice president. I think it's the normal shit show I expected to see. The travesty of American jurisprudence, brought to you by the potato folks in Idaho.
Can I use that for a title? The travesty of jurisprudence. Dear
Please
Prudence.
Do. And if they're too busy in the courtroom and, they get a little hungry throughout the day, I got a little solution for that too. Grab a sidebar.
Is that a real fruit? We should start that. What lawyer wouldn't buy a healthy Cliff Bar sidebar for the... That would totally be allowed in all courtrooms across the land. If they want to do that, then, that's another thing. But
yeah, not all courtrooms and not all jurisdictions are the same. I'm just saying, when you're dealing with the Bar Association, which that is the same, that's the connecting principle between all of these places. You can have different systems and rules and laws within the state, with different states, but that's fine. But you have these bar associations, right? That they all got to be part of.
Right.
We see things like Hurwitz is a product of that system. Is a great example of a product of that system. Did he say anything of substance at all? Did you hear anything of substance in his statements?
Well, his whole he was trying to reverse counteract what she said, and the judge agreed that it's a tremendous amount of work or something like that. I can't.
Well, he tried to play it off that these are all people that they've just recently talked to and recently gave them discovery of. He didn't address any. I didn't hear him address any substance of the 23 requests. Meaning they didn't say, well, yeah, she requested this in the 22nd request for discovery, supplemental request, and we gave it to her here before she even submitted the 23rd. That's what I mean. There was no substance to any of his statements.
Well, he literally tried to say that she didn't provide anything of substance, which was my take on that. That really grated my gears.
Yeah, and again, it's just bullshit, dude. Everything he said, nothing he said was of substance. Nothing he said was relevant to the precise circumstances in which they were discussing. They were all gross generalities and way off target in many respects. And the reason I'm talking like that is because that's how attorneys talk. These are fucking assholes. The bulk of them. Again, Hurwitz a great example of that whole system. He's a prime example of how that bar association system promotes this kind of tomfoolery.
Well, I noticed a disconnect between him and Thompson. It's like, first of all, Shushley Jennings wasn't even there. Nye was put back into the bleachers, just like the little boy that he's been made. And then I saw, before Hurwitz got up there, I saw Bill Thompson try to make eye contact, and it was like he just wouldn't even acknowledge him.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hurwitz got his little bitch boy sidekick back, in the back somewhere, his little deputy assistant or whatever he's always got running around with him. I wouldn't be surprised if all messages to Hurwitz have to get passed through that guy. I wouldn't be surprised if Thompson's not allowed to talk to Hurwitz. They're of two different ilks, if you will. They're both pieces of shit, but they're two different types of pieces of shit. Bill Thompson, went to the universe. Oh, my bad. I'm just cursing up like a stormer today, aren't like a sailor, huh?
Killing me, bro.
That's why I sent you that clip from Cuffs. I'm like, you just got to get a bleep thing, dude. So a bleep button. So the Hurwitz from Harvard, dude. He's a Harvard Eric Holder lackey out of a DC law firm guy. You know what I mean? That ain't the trajectory old Slick Willie's had there.
Well, they're just different sides of the left, I think.
Oh, yeah, they're on the same team. I'm just saying, but internally to their team, I assure you, Hurwitz looks down upon Thompson generally. He's a Harvard attorney who works for Eric Holder. You know what I mean? Bill Thompson's a dude who went to school in Georgia, got a job in Idaho, and has never left.
Yeah, I also noticed that the prosecution side was very empty. Of course, this is a quick, even Twiz wasn't there today. This is a quick hitter. So people maybe just weren't willing to travel. Maybe that's what happened with Shushley. I'm not sure.
That's possible. I suspected that he just told her, shut up and call her, and she's no longer sitting at the big boys table.
Yeah, well, maybe she couldn't get out of bed.
He looked happy, dude. Hurwitz looked like he was on a bender of anger today.
Yeah, full of venom. Exactly what I said.
Did you say that? Nice. Well, that's a good assessment, sir, because you can see it in the man's eyes from a distance.
Yeah, he's spitting fire, and it doesn't matter that there's nothing to it. And she didn't address the DoorDasher thing, did she? I don't remember her mentioning that. But that seems like...
I don't know. You mean this recent... I'm not all up to speed on all the details, but this recent dust-up over this alleged DoorDasher on a interrogation?
That one, yeah, the very one.
This is the reason why I haven't paid a lot of attention to any of it. It's the same reason why I haven't paid a lot of attention to that fellow in Pennsylvania. These distractions and nonsensical fucking narratives, nonsensical Farfignugan narratives get rolled out at these very particular times, the same time as they're rolling out a new documentary. These things are planned, orchestrated, and executed. Likely, in my opinion, by a public relations firm. And if you'd like an example of that, sir, I'd be happy to provide you one.
Well, I wanted that kind of refresh my memory of your chat
You need a
experience
sidebar?
yesterday
Is that what you're saying?
of Schindler's List.
You hungry? You grab a sidebar.
I got a potato sitting there staring at me. I ate a whole lasagna yesterday. That was my lunch, breakfast, and dinner. That was
What are you
really
doing? Some
dope.
Garfield Maxon? What's up, bud? What are you doing? Eating a whole lasagna?
I hate Mondays.
Was it a
Thank
Monday?
God this thing happened on a Wednesday and it was an easy run. All the other hearings I got a carpal tunnel on my wrist trying to ride this slider, but I figured out how to remove stuff from videos, so don't sweat it. Just don't give me any extra work. If you go, the only thing is it removes the chat replay, which a lot of people have expressed unhappiness. But I was going to talk about yesterday's show on Dago, and you literally got the boot in there, huh?
Well, they weren't. I mean, his moderator.
Oh, we got
wasn't
the
there. One of
hearings
his
back. The
moderators
hearings
wasn't
back.
happy
Hearings
with me.
back, guys.
All right, this is CR 0124316665, State v. Kohberger. On behalf of the state, we have Mr. Thompson and Mr. Orwitt. And on behalf of, I should note the defendant is present with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoth, and Ms. Barlow. This is the time set for, or at least the public portion of today's hearing is set for the motion to continue the trial filed by the defense. So we'll start with that.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, our motion to continue has been filed and is necessary to protect Bryan Kohberger's rights under the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of Idaho. Specifically, a continuance is necessary to protect his due process rights, his rights to a fair trial, his rights to effective assistance of counsel, rights to confrontation, Mr. Kohberger's right to present a full defense, and if it should come to it, a fair sentencing hearing and to be free of cruel and unusual punishment. The record of this case spans 2.5 years, and it shows that this request does not come as a surprise. Looking through the history of this case shows that the defense has met challenges and difficulties along the way, but has been dedicated in meeting all of the deadlines. We have talked about the discovery issues in this courtroom before, and that in large part brings us to need a continuance. 68 terabytes of information is a huge amount of information. There have been 23 requests for additional discovery over the span of 2.5 years and 7 motions to compel. When I say that this doesn't come as a surprise, that this comes from the record, I would direct the court to look back to May of 2023 and June of 2023 and our second motion to compel. Included in that was what was known as Exhibit A from the defense, and that depicted how we were receiving discovery. So this is not a new issue. This is something that's been coming up for a long time. We were receiving discovery, but it was such that you would get a file that would say hundreds of photographs, hundreds of pages of reports, each having to be looked at individually to know what was there and then organized. This case has also faced unique issues, starting with the media coverage of this high-profile case, non-dissemination orders that were addressed in courts, and then the grand jury materials that we had to fight to get access to before we could properly challenge the grand jury indictment. We faced issues with discovery, particularly with the IGG materials. We spent a great deal of time trying to get access to those materials. Those were ultimately what we could get, was ultimately presented in a motion to suppress, and that's preserved should there be a conviction in this case. We faced venue issues in this case, culminating in the change of venue and bringing us to Ada County. At the first hearing in this courtroom, we discussed the discovery issues and not having read everything and being ready with a full investigation in this case. That was apparent through our motions to strike the death penalty, our motions to compel expert disclosures filed in September and December of 2024, and requests for more time to file our motions in limine that was granted in January of 2025. Throughout the course of the motions in limine and then a motion to strike death based on discovery issues in February and March of this year, the record is replete with notice that we are not prepared to go to trial in this case. The discovery is vast and we have not had a chance to review it all. That we met deadlines for experts shows our dedication to comply with court orders. It does not depict effective counsel ready to go to trial on this case. We would submit that it's the court's responsibility to assess this motion to continue with heightened due process that's required in death penalty cases. The death penalty case is different. That comes from Ford versus Wainwright at 477 U.S. 399 at 411. The court must be sensitive to safeguard every avenue of due process. The Idaho Supreme Court said the qualitative difference between death and other penalties calls for a greater degree of reliability when death is imposed, and that comes from State versus Creech, 105 Idaho, 362 at 383. Looking at all of the constitutional rights Mr. Kohberger has, effective assistance of counsel really becomes the crux of how all of these other rights are covered for Mr. Kohberger. An effective assistance of counsel applies both to the merits phase and the penalty phase of a death penalty case. The courts are guided and counsel is guided by the American Bar Association guidelines on capital cases. Wiggins versus Smith, 539 U.S. 510 at 524, said the ABA guidelines are guides to determine what is reasonable. And that's talking about reasonable performance by defense counsel in a capital case. The Ninth Circuit in Andrews versus Davis at 944 F3D 1092 at 1109 relies on the ABA guidelines as the proper measure to test an attorney's investigation. In Idaho, our public defender statutes reference the ABA guidelines as applying to indigent defense. These apply to the full investigation of the merits phase and require us to raise all legal claims. They require us to perform a background on all witnesses that might be called, especially those being called by the state. That means that we have to review all discovery to be able to present a full defense for Mr. Kohberger. We cannot present what we are not aware of. I would note for the court that discovery has been ongoing. I received discovery just this week. It is discovery that I have not reviewed yet. Considering what's required at a penalty phase in a capital case, we're required to perform in a way that the jury can carry out their function of individualized sentencing. That means that Mr. Kohberger's background has to be known and investigated and ready to present to the jurors. Evidence of his character has to be known and ready to present to the jurors, and his circumstances have to be known and ready to present to the jurors. That's addressed in the Woodson case and in the Lockett case. The jury must have the opportunity to consider all evidence that may weigh against the death penalty, and that means anything from his life history. It is the duty of the defense to find and investigate all mitigating information. We do have several experts that would be ready for the mitigation portion of the case, should the case reach that phase, and they rely on understanding family history and Mr. Kohberger's own history. They can only understand what they've been presented, and the investigation to fully evaluate needs to be thorough. That means that records have to be collected. That means that interviews, collateral interviews have to be done, and those have not all been completed. And it's not because of a lack of diligence in this case. Further, when things that are noted as red flags arise, those things must be investigated. Red flags aren't fanciful ideas of what else could we do in this case. They're real things that come up in the course of the investigation, and whether or not they're important to mitigation and presentation for a jury's consideration requires time to investigate and collect records. Documentation is very important. The court's aware that red flags have come up and they require further investigation. Those are issues that may mean a lot to the experts that would be ready to testify, but they can't be presented until there's a full investigation. They are things that might change the course of the evaluation or might require us to have an additional expert to help explain certain circumstances. And that's important for the individualized sentencing that's required by the Constitution. Your Honor, there have been numerous challenges with gathering records and interviewing collateral witnesses. I know the court is aware of some of those particular issues. I'm not going to highlight them now, but it's imperative that we be able to collect records and conduct interviews from other family members besides just Mr. Kohberger and his parents. And it's also imperative that his history be complete with educational records, medical records, and those things are still being done to this day. The other reason that a continuance is appropriate in this case is based on the media coverage, the Dateline issue that has been talked about in this courtroom before, and what's yet to come. The Dateline episode wasn't just a one-time deal back in May. That continues to be talked about. Everything that happens in this case continues to be talked about, and this court has a duty, a responsibility to make sure that Mr. Kohberger receives a fair trial. That comes from Shepard versus Maxwell, 384 U.S. 333. And a continuance may be the way that the court can best protect Mr. Kohberger. That comes from Patton versus Yount, 467 U.S. 1025. In addition to what is going on with what happened with the Dateline episode, that's not all. There's a book set to be released just a few weeks from now to be followed by a docuseries on Amazon Prime. There's a claim that there's inside sources that provide information in this case. At the very least, the moment we start attempting to select a jury in this case, those things are going to be on everybody's TV, everybody's social media feed, and some of the very witnesses that will be expected to testify will be taking part in the docuseries at least, and may be noted in the book. That is, in and of itself, an exceptional reason for us to have a continuance to let those things play out for a while. I would also note, Your Honor, that jury selection is going to be particularly challenged and will need a great deal of time based on what's happened in the media and continues to happen. Your Honor, our request is for a continuance in this matter to allow us to be effective and perform our constitutional duty for Mr. Kohberger, to protect his constitutional rights, to make sure that we have fully investigated all mitigating circumstances so the jury, if it comes to it, can perform their individualized sentencing, judgment, and function, and to allow some space between what's recently happened in the media. Thank you.
May I, Your Honor?
Of course.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will, I think, address Ms. Taylor's argument sort of in the reverse order in which she raised the issues that she raised. I want to begin, though, by bringing
Okay, I just realized just now that that's a replay of the original court hearing. I guess, did they do that last time?
And the court, back to what the
So
standard
JJ
is
stepped
for
out
this
for a
motion to
second. We were
continue,
chatting during it.
as opposed to
I wasn't really paying
what
attention.
might happen after a conviction
So
with respect
I got
to
some
ineffective
crazy
assistance of
lightning
counsel.
and thunder here.
Right
I
now,
was
the
telling
standard
him,
is whether denying a continuance would
this would be interesting to listen to again, though.
violate the defendant's rights by causing unfair prejudice. And that is an objective standard that the court has, and the court has discretion on all motions to continue, including a motion to continue in a case such as this.
It popped back up. What do you? I mean, I thought I was the.
What
I was
the defendant
I had the scoop.
and counsel are asking the court to do is delay this trial because of their subjective, prospective beliefs about how
I tell you, I'd
the
love to be a
ineffective assistance
fly in
of
the
counsel
wall right now during
evaluation would
this closed
happen by an appeals court if there is a conviction. What this court should do is use its discretion and look at the objective record. The record supports denying the motion based on what the defense has been doing, continues to do, and will continue to do through the mitigation phase until the penalty phase, including presenting mitigation evidence that the jury will ultimately decide
Yeah,
about
sure.
if there is a conviction. The lens that the court should look at is well stated, through which the court should look at this motion is well stated in some Idaho case law and others. And if I can turn on the Elmo, do I need to hit this button, Your Honor?
I think Clark needs to switch it over.
Okay, thank you.
Pull your head out of your ass. So JJ kind of felt.
So these are cases that we cited in our brief, and I wanted to start my discussion with them. I'll read the top case, which is an Idaho Supreme Court case, evaluating whether counsel was effective in a death penalty case. Counsel was not required to investigate defendant's entire life in order to objectively and reasonably present mitigation evidence. And then I like the way that the Seventh Circuit sort of rephrased the same principle by saying, I won't read the entire quote, Your Honor, but a scorch the earth strategy is not required. We're in a standard.
Right there, the scorch the earth strategy. Scorching the earth is when you have like a breakup and you tell all his friends or you bang all his friends or something, and then or you tell his mom. Scorch the earth is not researching somebody's background. That it's a irrelevant fallacy
Of reasonableness. And the record that is before the court, and I'll acknowledge we have not seen what specifics, if any, the defense has put forward in its ex parte filing.
It's kind of hard for you, I recognize.
It does, but
it's kind of hard for you. That's what Hippler said right there. And let me replay that for you. There's a nice quote. There's a great takeaway. Put in the next song.
a scorch the earth strategy is not required.
Poor you. Poor you. You've given 68 terabytes worth of discovery in a snow globe. But poor you that you have to vet your... Here, let's see.
We're in a standard of reasonableness. And the record that is before the court, and I'll acknowledge we have not seen what...
You should acknowledge that you have distributed lies and fed the media with propaganda, and that you have not provided discovery. That's what you should be admitting to. Here he says again.
Is before the court, and I'll acknowledge we have not seen what...
He'll acknowledge that he has not seen...
Specifics, if any, the defense has put forward in its ex parte filing.
It's tough for you, he says, Hippler says.
Specifics, if any, the defense has put forward in its ex parte filing.
It's kind of hard for you, I recognize.
It does.
Dude, they definitely had bacon together before this trial, Howard, happened. Zero charisma. penis breath.
Yes.
He does look like he
But
has
we
penis
have not
breath.
seen specifics. I did not hear any specifics from counsel just now about these witnesses need to be contacted, these records need to be.
She is already limited to 36-page depositions, and now he wants her to sit there and list all the witnesses that won't talk to her when we're trying to get on with the... Give me a freaking break.
These witnesses need to be contacted.
Buckingham Blues Bar. Where is that?
These records need to be obtained. And then the court, I think, mentioned at prior hearing we had when this was motion to continue.
He reminds me of every neo-maxi zoom dweeby I've ever met.
First raised, that the court would be looking at what admissible evidence the defense needs to obtain and what strategies would actually be used to fruitfully obtain that evidence. And we don't have anything specific that we can respond to about that. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage, Your Honor, but I think
he's at a bit of a disadvantage.
I think the record that we do have shows that
I can't even stop. He's poor widow him, poor widow Howitz.
but I think
He's
the
at a
record that we do have
disadvantage.
shows that the court can use its discretion to deny this motion to continue. What we did in our response
I'm not telling you what to do directly.
brief, Your Honor, was to cite the fact that the defense has identified 55.
I don't understand why they think pushing it through quicker is going to get them anywhere when they have nothing. They have a coerced witness, possibly now. This witness thing is so dumb. It's so dumb, and it doesn't even match up. It doesn't line up. It's just more fuel to the fire of BS.
Defense
You can hear that lightning
witnesses
moving.
for mitigation, and I think one was recently added, so we're up to 56. 132 exhibits to use at the mitigation phase.
Oh, they're going to try to make a diorama to get this guy on the DP.
And with respect to the ABA standards, we're not saying the court should completely ignore them, but what we are saying is that the court should look at them for what they are, which is a retrospective tool for appellate courts to look at the performance of counsel after a conviction, not some checklist that needs to be religiously adhered to in order to actually get to trial. Even if the court were to rely on them heavily, though, the charts that we've put together show that for each of the ABA guidelines categories that the defense has raised, we have seen evidence in the record that shows that they have witnesses to talk about those issues and they have discovery on those issues themselves. Now, defense has called that superficial, but we would ask the court to look at the tables and look at the witnesses that we've been able to identify for each category and also the discovery in the record. So, Your Honor.
That was as about a word salad as I've ever heard. I'm pretty sure.
Or to look at the tables and look at the witnesses that we've been able to identify for each category and also the discovery in the record. So, Your Honor, again, we think that given legal standards here on a motion to continue, given the court's discretion, given that we are in a world where the court needs to satisfy itself that defense has done a reasonable job.
Such as, and the court such as, and such as.
To prepare for trial.
He literally... Oh, I just gotta hear that again.
That we've been able to identify for each category and also the discovery in the record. So, Your Honor, again, we think that...
Just one more time. Indulge me.
Rely on them heavily, though. The charts that we put together showed that for each of the
So they have another PowerPoint. The charts that they've put together.
ABA guidelines categories that
AVA guidelines categories such as.
the defense has raised, we have seen evidence in the record that shows that they have witnesses to talk about those issues and they have discovery on those issues themselves.
They have their own discovery, which excuses us from having to give them our discovery.
To talk about those issues and they have discovery on those issues themselves.
Themselves! Right there, dude!
Defense has called that superficial, but we would ask the court to look at the tables and look at the witnesses that we've been able.
What is his obsession with the court discretion? The judge can use the discretion of the court to make it. Wow, my words seem a lot more powerful with all that thunder behind it.
Able to identify for each category and also the discovery in the record. So, Your Honor, again, we think that given the legal standards here on a motion to continue, given the court's discretion, given that we are in a world where the court needs to satisfy itself that defense has done a reasonable job to prepare for trial, excuse me, to prepare for trial, there is no basis for a motion to continue. Now let me turn to
JJ, be back in a minute,
specific
guys.
arguments.
Walking his dog.
I can take.
What I missed that part. Sorry, I was distracted by Love Tina's beautiful eyes.
Excuse me. To prepare for trial, there is no basis for a motion to continue. It's to satisfy itself.
There's no basis for a continuance. That's his argument. It doesn't matter that we leaked everything out. It doesn't matter that everything's twisted around. There's no basis. There's just no. This is exactly how they're going to go through the freaking trial. You can see it right here. They've amplified it. They doubled down on it. And so when it comes to 2 towers or 3 towers, let's just move on past that.
That defense has done a reasonable job to prepare for trial. Excuse me. To prepare for trial, there is no basis for a motion to continue.
The defense has done a reasonable job. They may not fully be prepared, but that doesn't matter to us because we're the ones who swirled the waters.
Now let me turn to some of the specific arguments, and I can take this down, Your Honor, that Ms. Taylor raised with respect to the media coverage.
It's really eating in my brain hole how Hitler's like, oh, it's so difficult for you. Oh, you poor baby, Hurwitz. He's literally. I don't think Hitler would breathe wrong when Hurwitz is talking, even though he's not making any freaking sense.
Acknowledged, as the court has, that will pose challenges for jury selection. The issue, though, is not whether there is a lot of publicity.
Okay, it's like when you were in 8th grade and you had to write an essay, and you would always have to start with, the way I think about this subject, then you always had to close it with, like, in general, wrapping it up syndrome, here it is. It's like you had some cookie cutter essay that was 3 paragraphs, but he never filled it with any actual information.
We know there's going to be a lot of publicity regardless of when this trial happens.
A lot of publicity, yes, but there's a difference between publicity and slanted media, and then media that is fed all of this redacted information, breaking the gag order.
As Ms. Taylor said, people will continue to talk about this case.
Yeah, you've been listening in here, brother?
Reminded me of a few things that Herbert was saying.
Yeah, he's doing the word salad thing here. It's like there's no substance to it. It's like you're saying, I really hear it now.
Yeah, and that's what they get away with by having everything sealed. So, like, they never have to address the specifics of the 23 requests. They can continue to railroad the defense in Bryan Kohberger by not addressed by the fact that it's sealed, and they can play these games in the court like this because the public doesn't know the difference, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is he can argue complete bullshit, and we wouldn't know the difference of what's going on, and the defense can't say nothing other than argue against it here in the hearing. But then they go back to private hearings, right? So.
I don't know. A lot of people were saying that he looked nervous.
I think he looked fucking angry, dude. He might have had a little bit of nerves going too, but he definitely was not happy to be there.
Yeah, I think he forgot to take his Prozac, is my opinion here. Let's zoom in on his face.
And if you noticed, he when I said that bar association nonsense before, when I was on my tirade there, he I was hangry. I needed a sidebar. So now I'm refueled.
Yeah, I need a baked potato bar here in a second. Oh, I thought BK was wearing a suit, but he just got on a new white button down. Okay.
Yep.
Let's
a good
scan
close
the
up.
crowd.
But he mentions the ABA guidelines and says, basically saying that the defense is arguing that they're not getting a chance to even properly defend their client because they're not meeting these American Bar Association, the ABA, not the American Basketball Association. He doesn't clarify, but the ABA guidelines, and he lists they don't list them. So again, we're restricted from the knowledge. I don't know which guidelines he's referring to, if that's within the public purview, but the defense has clearly argued that they can't even defend their client to reach the minimum standards as outlined by the American Bar Association. I mean, Thompson looks like someone fucking. No, my bad. Thompson looks like somebody in his Cheerios.
Somebody did pee in his Cheerios, and he at best right now is a shell of what we saw in Watson County, and he doesn't look like he's a part of it at all. Whatever notes he's taking are never going to get read. I'm going to assume.
I'm telling you, the body language between those two at the table, it's like Herwood told him, you can't talk to me directly, send your messages through my assistant.
And then Nye is back here with his tail between his legs, literally. And I don't know.
I suspect there's a history between Herwood and Nye's father. I suspect as much. So Nye's father being the head district judge up there, and Herwood being the U.S. attorney for some time.
So that's a long coming beatdown for Nye, I guess, and who's a piece of crap to begin with.
He looks nervous as shit, though, doesn't he, back there?
I mean, yeah, he doesn't want to make one wrong move, but he looks like he's got a lot to say.
No, I'm saying Nye. Look at Nye's hands, dude. They don't
stop
stop
that's what I'm saying. He looks like he's got a lot to say, but he looks like a little boy who got put in the corner, as does Bill.
In color. Well, Bill still has the chair at the big boys table. Nye's been.
That's so wild. It's not like there's not enough seats. You know what I mean? It's just like, nah, we're done with you. BK again, very stoic. And very, very mousy again, in my opinion, with her approach. But I think her gentle approach has a dagger behind it for sure. Don't you think? Oh wait, we can't hear you, but you're there. Hold on, give it a second. Sometimes it clicks back. Yeah, you better turn it off and turn. Now you're just vetting Miss Potts again. So I'm just trying to look at the crowd here. If you look, there's 0 people on the pros side, except for Nye and the assistant here, I guess. Totally empty there. There is that one blind spot in the courtroom, though, that they cut out by having to put Hippler in there.
Is this the purge?
There it is. There you are. There, JJ's back. Okay. Yeah, we're the ones having the weather. I should be dropping out, not you. Let's see here. So,
it does that from time to time. I just pop out, pop back in, and it seems to fix it.
Let's take a listen here to this part of it and see what's up.
Back to the record and ask the court to look at the objective record when evaluating this motion. 55 mitigation witnesses, over 130 exhibits, a very robust team on the defense side, which includes their retained experts. Ms. Taylor, and in the briefing, really honed in on this idea of a social life history for the defendant. I don't know if the court has read the expert reports of the defendants.
Haven't they called for a social media life? What did he say exactly?
I don't know if they really honed in on this idea of
what
a
happened?
social life history for the defendant.
They've called in on this idea for a social life history of the defendant. Haven't they done the same thing, except for actually not researching it? They just went on the words of what appears to be some liars about him and ran with it.
I would agree with that.
I don't know if the court has read the expert reports.
They just made it up, right?
I mean, it looks like they made a lot of it up. They admitted they were lying and doubled down on it. I mean, I can't say that strongly enough. His cold, calculated delivery also, JJ.
Oh, he's a psychopath by the looks of him.
Yeah.
Defendants, forensic psychiatrist, and then the licensed psychologist. I won't discuss the details in open court, but our position is that both of those specialists, well-trained, very experienced specialists, conducted significant, fulsome life.
So is he talking about the psychiatrists that he's not supposed to talk about, but he's talking about him anyway in open court?
Yeah, I assume they were talking about any diagnosis of autism, right?
Right. So much for rules. Right.
Life history investigations. They weren't just looking at bare records. They were talking to people from the defendant's past, from his present, his family, and developed parallel life histories. And in their reports, as I read them, no red flags that needed further investigation were noted. Nothing about those reports appeared to be incomplete, and the experts didn't say we are unable to reach the conclusions we need to reach for lack of investigation. So I think that is sort of proof in the pudding. We have a life history for the defendant. The defense has amassed significant materials, and I thought we were going to be solely talking about the mitigation case that still needs to be developed.
He talks like a gangster, kind of right there. He's like, I thought when I came to the table we had an understanding. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. He's an operative of Eric Holder, dude. He runs by the Eric Holder fucking Farfig-Nugent School of Operations here.
Eric Holder? Who's that, JJ?
Eric Holder, he was the Attorney General under Barry Tortoro. They call him Obama sometimes. And then he was the Deputy Attorney General under Janet Reno in the Clinton administration. He was in private practice as a partner in a law firm of Burlington and Butthole, and that's where
Schindler's
Hurwitz
List.
came from. Yeah, Schindler's List. But I can see the machinations of how Eric Holder operates and the way that Hurwitz here operates.
I got you. Okay, I'm tracking.
That is not a basis for continuance.
An example of Holder, in 1995, he gave a press conference telling people that we need to brainwash folks to give up their gun rights. This is why he's a Deputy Attorney General.
That sounds about right.
And to the extent there are ongoing discovery from the state that Ms. Taylor alluded to, I can represent that most of what was just turned over was our investigators speaking with witnesses that the defense has disclosed. So that's the nature of that discovery, is us responding to.
Okay, so it's her fault for not giving them the witnesses. Is that what I'm understanding?
That Ms. Taylor alluded
Well, I mean,
to.
I'm confused by his whole reign here. It seems to be that he's saying that they have all these witnesses and doctors and stuff, and they've reached these conclusions. But again, I think they're lying. I think it seems to me that they're BSing, and we can't show they're BSing because it's sequestered from public purview with these sealed motions and hearings.
I think Kamala Harris wrote his speech. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Is he talking?
Who's Kamala Harris?
She's not the VP.
Of that discovery.
You mean the sorority sister of that lady, the TikTok tarot lady who's getting sued by the University of Idaho professor? That Kamala Harris?
Yes, that one.
From the same exact Howard chapter of the same exact sorority. Oh, okay, thank you. I wanted to clarify.
To discovery from the defense, and that will continue, of course, to occur as we lead up to trial and witnesses make statements that we need to disclose to the defense. So with that, Your Honor, I would again rest on.
There's the classic essay wrap up. So with that, Your Honor, I would rest upon blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about, bro.
The case law holding that a scorch the earth investigation is not what's required.
And again, they get away with these things. He's just talking in such generalities, right? Even when he says some specific things, they're still very general.
Dude, imagine the rage in BK's head, just like, can we just quit?
That's what I'm saying, dude. He seems to keep his cool pretty well, right?
Yeah, no, he's. I couldn't sit that still for 5 minutes, let alone
what I'm
for
saying,
an entire
dude. This
year.
guy's under the pressure cooker, sitting there in this trial, dude, watching all this bullshit.
And it's like at every turn they're throwing out a new fantasy of how he did it. He did it. The DoorDash driver says he was the one. I saw Kohberger there. What lineup did you identify him in? We'd like to see that paperwork here.
Well, that's what you were saying when you asked me earlier, right? When you asked me about, when they were talking about the DoorDash driver, I said, and this is part of that deal, like, this is part of the magic show where these elements are never part of the court case, but they're presented to the public as if this is some sort of evidence.
And News Nation, I was watching on Dago earlier, they were running with it like a giant red flag across the field, man. They're like, oh, this is absolute fact. This is a big bombshell. And it's funny now because I've been saying that YouTube is the new media. And here now we have an actual example where they're pulling their headline directly from YouTube. And I thought it was funny they didn't mention Shishi, who will remain unnamed, giving her credit for it. They gave it credit to somebody else. So that person is taking credit for somebody else's moves in that particular situation. Did you know that?
I'm not shocked by all of this, Kane. And in fact, if you want to talk bombshells, you're talking about the Meow Report, in my opinion.
Folks, the Meow Report brought to you by Moscow Public Distribution Center over there in Latah County. See your local Chief Fry for details. Yeah, this hearing is such a, it's so brief and short, but it's a juicy preview of what we're going to get at the hearing, at the trial, isn't it? Now, is there one more hearing, JJ? Sorry, I didn't let you answer that.
Well, I think it is a preview of the bullshit that they intended to call a trial. Again, it's a travesty of American jurisprudence, in my opinion. All of this stuff, the gross violations of law and Kohberger's alleged inalienable rights. I don't think any of these people are God, but they somehow violated his rights bestowed upon him by God. So I got a lot of problems with all these things. These things are going to continue. We're going to see more secrecy as opposed to less. I wouldn't be surprised with a lot of games being played with the jury, but that's a longer tale.
That's really going to be wild. Ugh. Yeah, that's...
They can play a lot of games. I'll use one example, and we can say that for a longer discussion on a later purge. But the Stephen Avery trial, the Making a Murderer Stephen Avery trial, they forced a juror off the trial right before deliberations and replaced that juror with a reserve juror who was a deputy Manitowoc County Sheriff's deputy. The same sheriff's department wasn't supposed to be involved in the investigation. The same sheriff's department that discovered all key pieces of evidence.
And one of their own was a juror?
Yeah, it was, if I remember correctly, it was either the reserve deputy or the father of a reserve deputy. Now that I think about it, it was one of those two.
No conflict of interest there at all.
No, and because it was the jury apparently was, I guess they got wind internally, that the jury was, not leaning towards the state's way, so they had to, they had to throw in a last minute curveball, right? And that curveball was literally forcing a juror off the jury by telling that juror that their daughter was in a car accident and that it was an emergency, and turns out it wasn't. It was like a minor fender bender, but they lied to him and said that she was like in the hospital. So he's like, I got to go. And they're like, oh, no worries. We got this other guy on standby. We'll replace you in the jury. That literally happened, dude. That literally happened.
That literally sounds like a prediction of what's going to happen here.
For sure, because guess what? You know whose father used to be a county commissioner in Ada County, according to her, assigned there, quote unquote, assigned there in 1974.
I know.
From his U.S. military. Well, from his U.S. Army intelligence position under Colonel Paul Tate, he was assigned as the Ada County commissioner, according to the Gooch. And her sister's a deputy in Ada County right now.
The Gooch's sister is a deputy, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Like a detention deputy or a sheriff deputy?
Well, I mean, they do the same thing there, but I believe she works in the Ada County jail.
Do the deputies work as detention deputies?
And I believe in Idaho, I believe that's the case in Idaho. So if you're like a member of the sheriff's department, you're a deputy, but like most jurisdictions, you work in the jail before you can get on the road.
Okay, so it's like a right to passage kind of thing.
Yeah, but some folks never want to leave the jail. Some folks don't want to go on the road. Like a 65-year-old woman. They're twins. It's the Gooch's twin sister.
It's the Gooch's twin sister?
Oh, shit. Spoiler, we got two Gooches. We've just cloned the Gooches.
There can't be two Gooches by marriage. She's not technically a Gooch, though, is she?
Yeah, that's true. And I can't pronounce her Greek last name, so I just call her the Gooch. It sounds better.
Gooch Part 2. Wow.
Yeah, Gooch Part 2.
No kidding.
AKA the other Gooch.
There's so much necrocy. Not necrocy. What do they call it? Neapolitanism or nepotism in Idaho.
Some of that Neapolitanism.
A little strawberry, a little chocolate, a little vanilla. Nothing wrong with it.
Now you're talking my language.
I'll tell you who has the best flavor of Neapolitanism is the folks over there out of Austin, the fine ice cream makers at Bluebell.
How dare you, sir?
Those folks are the top dog when they're not putting listeria in their product. It's good.
Right.
My brother.
I was about to ask you. You trying to poison me right now, dude? They got a real listeria problem down there.
Well, my brother lives next to the factory, and they can get a half gallon for $5 still. It's like $10 here now, Publix.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. If it wasn't for the people, I'd love the state of Texas. Don't take that the wrong way.
Well, it's changed. I don't know when the last time you've been there. It's a lot of younger people, newly wealthy people, with the fractal stuff and all that. And so all these new, very high-end communities are popping up all over, and it's getting very crowded. Hey, McPeak, how you doing?
The whole situation is out of control, dude. I've never seen such an awful homeless situation as I saw in Austin. So
yeah,
I've lived in Texas collectively. I've been a resident of Texas in total 4.5 years of my life, but I lived there. I was stationed there in one stretch for 2 years.
Yeah, a lot of musicians with aspiring dreams, like they're going to Nashville, wound up there, and then the funny thing about Austin is you go to the airport there, and they got all these big giant guitar statues and everything's music, and it's the new music city. And then the way they treat the musicians there that are trying to survive off the street is just appalling. It's absolutely
It's just sad, dude. It's just sad, dude. I've watched that state go down, especially Austin and San Antonio specifically, and a little bit of Dallas for that regard too. Well, Houston and El Paso. I've watched that entire state go down the fucking dumps in the last 25 years.
Yeah, it's a sad situation. My brother's been there for about 30 years, and it's the same.
Yeah, I was down there. I went to basic training in San Antonio 27 years ago. Fuck, I'm old. Apologize for the cursing. And then I went to the police academy there in Lackland Air Force Base. And it was actually not a bad place back then, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. San Antonio is real stabby. Austin's very stabby. El Paso, dude, you need a bulletproof vest.
Houston is wild, and you want to talk about stabby? Go down.
You need
to
a bulletproof
Juarez.
vest there too. Yeah, you need a bulletproof and a stab-proof vest in Houston.
And Houston, the thing that floors me about it is it's such a beautiful town. It's so nice. The freeway system is unbelievable.
I love Texas. I just don't I don't love what they've done to Texas.
And listen, Texas is full of really cool people, but you have a bad element that is literally, right correlating with Brazil or anywhere else, or
how about Mexican drug cartels?
Well, that's the thing now. That's probably a big element, and it's changed things a lot. All right, let's listen in more on this hearing.
It's not new, dude. It's not new at all.
New. Well, it's proliferated more than it was before, for sure.
It's gone off the tracks a bit, hasn't it?
On the record before the court should exercise its discretion to deny the motion. If
They'll lose you?
Has any questions? I'm happy to answer those.
I tuned back on the hearing real quick.
Oh.
Let's hear some more BS.
I would submit on the record before the court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bill couldn't be more put in place, and my eyes just look at him. He never looks up. He's always looking down, like he's just so sad. He's lost his position.
What do you think he's writing right now?
He's like,
all
I
work
hate
and no play makes Bill a sad boy.
Over and he's gonna slide it over to Hurwitz when he sits down.
Right.
Give it to my assistant.
Or all work and no play makes Bill a dull boy. My bad. Makes Bill a dull boy. The Shining.
Yeah. No, I get it. I did it live.
He's about to rage out Jack Nicholson style on Hurwitz. You know what I mean? He's like, "How dare you, little boy, come into my zone and tell me what to do?" I guarantee this is the relationship they have.
Hurwitz isn't here right now, Mrs. Tanner. Rat.
I would lose it if he starts talking to her with his finger, dude. That'd be fantastic.
What if Hitler started doing it?
Right?
I'll take it under advisement.
I would start with
It'd
noting
be more
that
entertaining for sure.
If the new discovery is the state's contact of witnesses we've listed, the state knows that there are mitigation witnesses that we've listed because we had to disclose them, but they are people that have refused to speak with us. That presents a challenge in the case. A lot of the witnesses that refuse to speak with us have to do with records, medical.
Okay, so this is her rebuttal, JJ, right here, to him calling her out for not mentioning specific. Look at Hurwitz. He's like checking his watch. He's like, can we just get out of here?
Yeah, he does not want to be there, dude.
He's balls in, though, for sure, right?
Well, that's my point. He's forced to be in this position generally, and he doesn't want to be there specifically today, for sure.
You don't think it's by his own decision to be there, to take the reins on this thing?
No, not by any stretch of any imagination.
Yeah, the shots are coming called from much higher up, I guess.
Dude, you don't see a U.S. attorney, especially of his young age. I think he and I are the same age, roughly. I think he's what, 43 or 44.
Yeah, he's an up and coming guy, right? He's
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't take a break and go do this case. That does no benefit.
No, he's a single successful guy, and he wants to enjoy his senior year. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's not a local. He's there for a purpose. He was appointed by Biden for a specific purpose to do for purview of whatever hood rat shit they're into. But which I don't have the purview of specifically, but clearly he's a bag man that was put there from Eric Holder's law firm, right? Appointed by the Biden administration, and he's a Harvard guy. He's a Harvard trained dude. He's a DC lawyer. This is not a move that he would make, right?
Who is the chick to the left of Nye or to our right? Do we know her? Is she the assistant?
I was going to ask you. I think that's his sidekick. I think that's Hurwitz's sidekick.
Because she always sits close to Nye. Maybe she's comforting him. I can tell you what Bill's thinking right there. Everything I'm writing is useless.
Yeah, exactly, right. Hurwitz and I are the same age. He's 44. It says he went to Stanford, then Harvard Law, then worked in New York City, then he worked for he was the law clerk for Judge Buchwald in the Southern District of New York. Well, that's interesting. I got to get more into that one. That's who's prosecuting Sam Bankman-Fried, P. Diddy. All these people are all being prosecuted out of that Southern District.
Out of his district.
But then he served as a law clerk there. Then he went to Kirkland Ellis. Oh, holy smokes! I forgot about that. For 3 years, and then he went to that's in D.C. as well. That's another bagman operation for the DNC. Then he went to Covington and Burling, which is Eric Holder runs that law firm. He was an associate there from 2012 to 2022. This guy has no interest in Idaho other than being sent there for professional purposes.
Let's listen to Ian's rebuttal here.
Records.
It does his career no service.
Past treatment records of Bryan Kohberger.
Agreed.
Those are important things that the gravity of what they have to say can't be known to our experts until we have the opportunity to fully understand those things. And we continue to work on access to witnesses and access to additional information. Your Honor, I want to touch on just a couple of points. One, when the court considers a continuance and considers whether Bryan Kohberger's rights are violated, his right to a fair trial, his right to confront witnesses and evidence against him, his right to present a full defense, and his right to effective assistance of counsel are implicated and laid out in our motion to continue.
Bill's just doing like the ho-hum, what can an old man do at this point?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not even allowed to do anything. He's just told to sit there.
Holy shit.
They said, Bill, make sure you keep it in the lines, buddy. Sit there in color.
I never thought I'd see the day. Yeah, I think, did they give him a box of crayons? Nobody ever used the white crayon. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, if you look at each subsequent hearing since we've seen Hurwitz on the team, he's taken slowly more control and putting one. He's banishing another member of the team back to the kids' table each hearing. Right, we're down to just him and Bill now.
Yeah, it looks like they've gotten rid of Shushley altogether.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if next time it's just Hurwitz. It's just Hurwitz.
The ABA
he may have a couple partners or paralegals or whatnot.
Right, yeah, I was thinking he'll have somebody up there to make it look like
none of this crew though, right? He'll bring in his own crew.
He might bring in some guys from like the WWE, like in Idiocracy. He'll have President Camacho sitting next to him just for intimidation factor.
I'd pay good money to see that.
Require us to do a full investigation.
They're gonna make Bryan come in with a dildo strapped to his head.
It's not going scorched earth to understand Bryan Kohberger's full.
Yeah, that was the one thing I noticed. Hey, what's up, AR? How you doing? Oh, you're at the eye guy, huh? The scorched earth. Isn't that completely out of context in your? I don't know. In my opinion, it is.
Well, he's trying to frame it that way to make it look ridiculous, and they're just being childish, right?
It's just I don't know if she puts enough emphasis on calling it out because it's just such a fling to the left of it.
Not going scorched earth.
Again, I think they've
Kohberger's
restricted what she can say publicly about any of these discovery things, because we don't ever know in her 23 motions what the substance and contents of those motions are. So we don't know if the state's ever answered them. So then it permits this circumstance where they can just come out here and bullshit, and she can't say anything, so she just has to sputter around this nonsense.
Yeah, literally has to walk on eggshells in a circle. This is ridiculous.
Full
For
life
sure, dude,
history.
for sure.
These are things that are required. And we've done everything that we can. We have had a mitigation expert on the case. This is 2.5 years into a case, and the average for capital cases is 3.5 years.
In federal court,
In federal court.
which moves at a snail's pace in its best day. In regular cases,
It was just a reference to a movie, Gretchen. Gretchen got all excited.
I'm not a practitioner in federal court, so I don't have any basis to talk to the
I
court
said,
about
Twiz,
that.
come on up.
But what I
Where's he
can
at?
tell
Come on
you
down, Twiz.
is that a
See him
capital
in the chat.
case
Anybody wants to
where
come up?
we
There's
have
the
a
link.
client and we need to investigate both the merits
Like
phase
Twiz ain't been on the
and a
joined us in a
penalty
while.
phase
He's
at the
just in
same
the chat.
time.
He ain't coming up on the panel though. He telling him, come on down.
He said the other day that he really hadn't been paying much attention lately, actually, so I don't know. I know he has an opinion to share, I'm sure. But
Time.
I was
Takes
say he's a
time.
man of lots of thoughts
In
and
any
opinions. I
case,
have no
it
doubt.
takes time
we
to
like
do
hearing
that.
what he has to say.
In this case, with the high-profile nature and having people decline to talk to
Well, I
us,
see him
presents
troll folks
a
on
whole
Twitter.
set of
You know,
challenges.
the guilters, that is. So I know he's a man in the know.
I gotta catch up on that Twitter thing. I should do a channel on there. You know, it just seems like everything on Twitter of Gretchen. Hi, Becky. How are you doing today? Yeah, I guess, yeah, look at it. You keep catching Bill Thompson in these I can't do this anymore moments.
Dude, he's not paying a lick of attention to what's going on.
Check out, he really isn't, you're right. That's a good He's kind of like, he's
That's
a
what
grandpa.
that's what I'm saying, dude. It seems like with the body language, Hurwitz says, look, dude, sit there, shut up, color, and don't even look at me.
Look at Hippler. He's literally got the like, oh, that's so interesting, really? Mm-hmm, sure.
And Hurwitz said, if you're hungry, Bill, have a sidebar.
Challenges that we have to find a way to work through. As the court knows, a lot of mitigation information is very sensitive
Hippler
information.
looks like he needs
It
himself a
takes some
sidebar. He looks
time
hungry.
to be able to get people to
He
talk
needs
about
vampire
things.
blood.
Realities exist too. Not all of the family members are in the same place. So there's travel that's required. All of those things take time to do in a case like this. 2.5 years is excessively fast to put all of that together. There was no delay in having a mitigation expert on board. There was no delay in getting investigators to work on the case. And as soon as issues became...
I keep waiting for Hurwitz to jump up and yell, objection!
Oh, Bill looked at him. Don't look at him, Bill.
Don't make eye contact.
Became apparent, Mr.
You
Kohberger's
saw,
team
you
did
know,
not
Hurwitz sat back
delay.
up. You saw Bill look away real fast. You see what I mean?
Don't make me go down for a jack move.
And getting experts to help us understand
And then he
specific
scribbles a little bit
areas
like he's
of the
doing
case.
something because he doesn't want to piss Hurwitz off. Because clearly
Looking over
Hurwitz
the
yelled at him when
entire
everybody looked
record,
at
the
that
court
body
can
language.
see that the defense team has been diligent about discovery, about motion practice,
He keeps
about
looking around like, what am I supposed to do?
litigating issues in the case. There just still is a lot left to do. There is still a lot left that is not known. And Mr. Kohberger has a right to go to trial with prepared counsel that have conducted a full investigation in both phases of the case. When you have a certain amount of information and there's this other stuff that's out there, that's a red flag, that's real, that you need to investigate, your experts can only do what's here, what's been investigated, what's been produced for them to assess. This whole other area, that land between the red flags and the investigation, that's
Look at those sad eyes on Bill. Bill's like, oh man, this is so sad. I need to go play guitar in my garage band right now.
He's knocking on Evan's door. Oh, Gretchen.
Yeah, dude. You know, he's a garage band enthusiast.
I can't with you two.
It's an unknown area. That's where there's ineffective assistance of
That's what I'm
counsel.
saying, dude.
That's
You
where
go
there's
up there to
not
watch
a
this
fair
trial, Kane. There's a good chance we can get you in there where they do a duet there with Bill Thompson.
If I'm not front row, I'm jumping up on the stage with a harmonica and be like, Bill.
Dude, we'll get you in the same show, man. You and Bill, guitar v guitar. Little dueling guitars.
I'd shred his face off. Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying. We need a little Kane goes down to Idaho. A little devil goes down to Georgia style.
Yeah, we could do the scene from what was that movie Crossroads, where they duel off with Steve Vai, me and Bill, and then afterwards we could have a special guest, Twizzle Sticks, and having a beard off with Santa Claus here.
That's where there's
I'd
not
pay good
an
money for all these
individualized
events.
sentencing proceeding, and it's that area that requires a continuance in this case.
Hey, she had a well-stated discourse there. It was coherent and clear, and it had actual facts in it, as opposed to Mr. Word Salad.
From her statements, it seems like, again, my perception is she's been given some very tight restrictions on what she can and cannot say, and because she's not even going into the specific matters of why. Because here's what I'm saying, like. This is legitimate, this is open, and she was allowed to talk about things. She would be discussing the precise matters of all 23 of those motions for discovery that she still has yet to receive, but she's clearly not allowed to say that.
She is literally dancing around in generalities, and he's holding it against her that she's not mentioning specifics, which she's not allowed to do.
Exactly, dude. It's Hitler, dude. He's got everybody on the Friends and Family program there with all that, but that's what I'm saying is this is the environment that they've permitted for themselves to operate in by putting everything under seal. They can just make shit up publicly, which is what we see them do time and time again, and curtail the proper defense of Bryan Kohberger and tie the hands, grossly restrict his attorneys. Because look, even when you file 23 motions for discovery, and you're not allowed to argue these things publicly, this is clearly indicative of a larger problem in the case, and we see them doing this now, and this is the problem. They've not only are they restricting all that stuff, they've allowed themselves to do this bullshit, where nothing can be said about it, nothing can be done, and it has the appearance of an objective hearing.
Let's fast forward to our favorite part of any hearing, Hitler's decision.
That's an unknown area. That's where there's ineffective assistance of counsel. That's where there's not a fair trial. That's where there's not an individualized sentencing proceeding. And it's that area that requires continuance in this case.
You have to turn this up. Hurwitz doesn't know what to do either. He's just looking around. It looks like he's looking for answers to the test or something.
Oh, dude, big time.
Old glum Bill over there, and oh my gosh,
so
look
sad.
how hopeless Nye is.
So sad.
This is just I'm not a body expression expert, but there's some retention.
I'm not either, dude. It's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah, it couldn't be more clear.
All right, I'll take the matter under advisement.
My favorite part of the whole trial there, I'll take the matter under advisement. As if that's the most flippant answer to a continuance, I think, ever in the history of continuances. Here, one more time.
All right, I'll take the matter under advisement.
All right, I'll take the matter under advisement. I'll think about it. You know the answer is no. That's a straight maybe from any mom or dad right there.
And get an opinion.
That's what I'm saying, dude, right? Like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is this the purge?
We're purging.
That's what I'm saying, dude. This is presented to us as a public and objective hearing when this is just the Hitler Friends and Family program. The juries can figure it out for themselves. Y'all can go fuck yourselves.
Let me hear.
Y'all can go Farfig Nugan yourselves. They could not wait to get this in front of a jury just to stamp guilty on it and get this matter over with off their books in the state of Idaho, right?
I'm going to really crank it up and try to hear what he mumbles after he says, "I'll take it under advisement." Because it literally is like, "I'll take it under advisement." Man, fuck you. It's like, he literally watches.
All right, I'll take the matter under advisement and get an opinion out in short order.
He'll get the opinion out in short order.
In the meantime, I fully encourage everyone to continue as if the trial is going to take...
He strongly encourages everyone to continue on like nothing happened, because that's exactly how it's going to turn out for sure. Holy shit. Well, okay. Let's analyze some of the beginning if you don't mind hanging out for a little bit longer, JJ. Let's see.
Yeah, I can hang out for about 20 more minutes.
Okay. Yeah, let's take a look quick. It's not that long of a stuff.
Judge Stephen Hitler presiding. I just got a number of things I got to do, so I got a show tonight.
What do we have? Oh, Wednesday show. Yep.
Yes, sir. I think I sent you the Muppets for that.
I guess I should go to the full screen on that. But yeah, what show are you guys doing tonight? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, we're watching the video. I didn't know we were watching the video.
Oh, of the Lethal Weapon or Ghost Story?
Oh no, are you playing the clip right now? I can talk about that after the clip.
Yeah, I'll play the clip right now. He adjusts the mic like he's going to use it.
All right, this is CR0124316665, State v. Kohberger. On behalf of the state, we have Mr. Thompson and Mr. Orwit. And on behalf of, when should note the defendant is present with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoth, and Ms. Barlow.
Did you hear that, JJ? And Miss Barlow, that hippie. Am I imagining that? No, I don't think so.
He's extra salty. He seems like he needs a sidebar.
This is the time set for, or at least the public portion of today's hearing, is set for the motion to continue the trial filed by the defense.
No reference to everything is going to be out in the open anymore. Just let's go ahead with the public part today.
This is a performance, dude. This is all performative. There's nothing of substance here. There was nothing discussed. Everything that was discussed and decided upon was done so in private.
Yeah, I literally feel like I was handed a bag of fluff today.
So
yeah, they're like, well, if we're gonna have to do something in public to make it look good, and this is their attempt to make it look good.
Yeah, because they literally called the last hearing before the trial, and now we have this one and one in July. Am I correct?
Well, that's because the defense filed this motion since that last hearing, right?
I see.
For the continuance, right?
Right.
But again, we don't even hear the arguments for this continuance. We hear this fluff piece, nonsense, propaganda stuff, and this what's supposed to be a public court hearing, right, and objective hearing at that, and then it goes back to secrecy stuff. So again, it's just like, I don't know, man. This is my problem with attorneys relative to this case, is the basic concept of law here in America, that American jurisprudence I was discussing before, this is all a travesty of, is the fact that all hearings are by law, by virtue of right to the public, right to know, right? These are supposed to be public hearings. So not only like the sequestration of any information shouldn't be going on, certainly not everything, right? Certainly not everything.
Yeah, let's listen to Ann here real quick.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, our motion to continue has been filed and is necessary to protect Bryan Kohberger's rights under the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of Idaho. Specifically, a continuance is necessary to protect his due process rights, his rights to a fair trial, his rights to effective assistance of counsel, rights to confrontation, Mr. Kohberger's right to present a full defense, and if it should come to it, a fair sentencing hearing, and to be free of cruel and unusual punishment. The record of this case spans 2.5 years, and it shows that this request does not come as a surprise. Looking through the history of this case shows that the defense has met challenges and difficulties along the way, but has been dedicated in meeting all of the deadlines. We have talked about the discovery issues in this courtroom before, and that in large part brings us to need a continuance. 68 terabytes of information is a huge amount of information. There have been 23 requests for additional discovery over the span of 2.5 years, and 7 motions to compel. When I say that this doesn't come as a surprise, that this comes from the record, I would direct the court to look back.
This is almost like, you know, how a lot of the purges are just a history of the purge. This is just like a history of the hearings so far.
To May of 2023 and June of 2023.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is
And our
not
second-
like yeah, this is a good point. It's kind of a general, you know, meta summary of events.
It's a greatest hits hearing.
Right.
Motion to.
They're going to break into Hotel California right after this. I think that's what they did. They did a sing-along with Bill in the closed hearing. Just did Hotel California jam.
Bill likes the jam. He's a garage band enthusiast.
They're like, where's Kane's Bees the Purge? I'll show him.
Compel.
Don Felder.
Included in that was what was known as Exhibit A from the defense, and that depicted how we were receiving discovery. So this is not a new issue. This is something that's been coming up for a long time. We were receiving discovery, but it was such that you would get a file that would say hundreds of photographs, hundreds of pages of reports, each having to be looked at individually to know what was there and then organized. This case has also faced unique issues, starting with the media coverage of this high-profile case, non-dissemination orders that were addressed in courts, and then the grand jury materials that we had to fight to get access to before we could properly challenge.
JJ, that's the big one right there. The battle that they went to get the grand jury stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a good example of the uphill battle they've fought already just to even get any information, right?
Yeah. Now Miss Potts is asking for a live feed of this, looking for the knife weapon. Is there? Let's take a little break from this.
Wait a second. Is this that private investigator running that thing?
Allegedly,
because he claims, I don't know the laws of the state of Idaho or state of Utah, but his website claims that his home office is in Utah. But I looked, he's not licensed in Utah. He lists 2 different PI licenses on his website, but he's not licensed in Utah, and he lists his home office. And now in Ohio, I can assure you, you cannot do that. You cannot run your headquarters office out of Ohio and be licensed in other states. You must be licensed in Ohio, because I know this as a formerly licensed owner of a PI, private detective agency in Ohio. So he would have to do that. What he's doing in Ohio would be unlawful. I don't know if it's unlawful in Utah, but I also can't find out what state he is licensed in.
I agree, Dan. Definitely done with machetes. That's definitely my take, or a bushcraft or something like they use for what Miss Potts refers to as the Fruit Ninja experience. Does anybody know the detective's name? Utah?
It's Jensen.
Jensen.
I got his website right here if anyone wants to look at it.
Yeah, throw me a link there, bro.
Dude, throw me a sidebar, bro.
Hey, feed me, Seymour.
Spoiler alert, Kane. You ready for this?
Uh-oh. Should I be sitting down?
He's of a deep Mormon family.
The Mormons are coming for us, Twiz. Telling you. Jensen,
So
you want me to do the research myself, huh?
You want me to Schindler's List you? I got it right here for you, bud. So he's got, like I said, he's got 2 PI numbers listed on his website. I couldn't find those in the state of Utah's database. He's alleged to be licensed or located out of Utah, so that's interesting to me. So it says here that Mr. Jensen is a member of the Utah Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, dedicated to promote the fair administration of justice. I don't know how that is. I don't think he's an attorney. And Mr. Jensen is a member of the Wyoming Trial Lawyers Association. Again, I don't see any record of him being an attorney, so I don't know how he did that.
So this video that they have up here is just like his little advertisement thing. It's
dude, he's straight out of Central Casting. Dude, that's from the Gabby Petito case. He's on 2020 doing stuff. He's on Dateline doing stuff.
Oh, this guy, I remember this guy. Yeah. So he's convinced Bryan did it, and that the knife is going to be between Pullman and Moscow.
And like I said, they rolled him straight out of Central Casting, right? They said, "Look, dude, you're up, buddy. We got a gig for you." And again, if you scroll down to the bottom of that website, brought to you by Jensen Investigations, BCI commercial PI license. I haven't looked up Colorado. That might be Colorado. But I mean, Ohio calls theirs the Bureau of Criminal BCI as well, so it doesn't have a state listed. So, like for example, mine would say GCD Investigations, Ohio BCI commercial PI license number, and then I would list my license number. That's what my old site would say, right? His says brought to you by Jensen Investigations, no state, BCI commercial PI license. So what I'm saying is he's got two PI license numbers here, which purport to be from different places, but are sequential numbers as well. One is 101978. The other one is 101979. And he lists no state for either one of these things. It's heavily addressed across his whole website that it's Utah, but I cannot find him in the Utah Private Investigators License Security Database.
All right,
Does that make sense?
See. Why don't we call him? Let's call him. Because I honestly thought that investigation was starting on the 21st, not today.
That was my understanding.
But let's call him and find out. Call now. In Espanol. Which office should we call? Idaho, Pocatello.
Yeah, call that one. Wait, you had a Pocatello number there?
I do.
Is that on the website? Did I miss that?
It is on the website, yes, sir.
Oh, shit, okay. I didn't look in Idaho for a license.
I'm not even going to tell them they're live on the air, should I?
Why, yeah. You don't want a two-party consent state to fuck you over. I don't know what their laws are out there.
Hi, we're on a live stream. I was calling to find out if the investigators were going to be searching for the knife in Moscow, Idaho this week. Hello?
Sorry, what did you say you were calling about?
About the college kids there in Moscow, Idaho. And I from what I understood, Mr. Jensen was going to be searching for the knife this week. Is that correct?
This is the human being in Chubbuck. Did you mean to call us?
I'm sorry, this is the... What? Who am I talking to? I'm sorry?
This is like the human being, like the coffee stand in Chubbuck.
Oh, the human... Oh, you were listed on his webpage as a contact, and consultations are free and confidential. And you're a coffee shop.
What kind of beans do they recommend?
You are on Mr. Jensen's site as one of his consultations, and are free and confidential with the Idaho bean, or the human being. That's funny. I'm sorry to disturb you. I'll let you get back to work. Thank you very much.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Have a nice day. What the blankety blank? Now, okay, so here's another find, though, JJ. I have Jason's cell phone number.
That's interesting, though, right? Because that, I mean, it kind of speaks to the whole central casting thing I'm suggesting. So, yeah, I looked up that number. It does, like you said, it's on his website, as you showed. But, yeah, it does come up numerous times as his office across different websites. But it also comes up as the human being. In Chubbuck, Idaho, wherever the hell that is.
Did you hear her literally laughing, dude?
Oh, dude, she had no idea, dude. No idea what was going on.
I think she did. I think she's like, it's another one.
you're saying she recognized it. She was just annoyed by it. That's certainly possible.
I'm pretty sure that's. I don't know.
Yeah, it can't be the first call, right? It can't be. I mean, it is all over his website.
It is Contact Jensen Investigation. This guy is definitely the brother of, if not a distant cousin to what's his name? Witness Protection
Witness
Larry.
Protection Larry,
This is
dude,
totally Witness Protection Larry business here. Look at this
Witness
guy.
Protection Larry's that's his half brother right there.
Dude,
they look a lot alike.
I mean, a pair of glasses, a dark pair of glasses, and a different demeanor, and this guy is Witness Protection Larry. Holy crap!
Do you see what I'm saying? That he's at a central casting and he's doing all these other true crime stuff on these other true crime shows on the Datelines, the 2020s, all that stuff.
We're gonna go look for the knife. Well, let's see what happens, JJ, when we call his personal cell phone number here, which is listed as one of his contacts. I wouldn't be surprised.
If it's another coffee shop, dude, at least I'm going to give the guy credit for
Listen, if Mickey Mouse picks up, I wouldn't be surprised at this point, bro.
Right.
Where did it... Okay, call now. It's literally a link on his webpage. And yes, it seemed like she didn't know that they were listed as a way to... I guess it's more impressive to have all these phone numbers, but they just figure everybody's going to call the toll-free number. Let's try.
Dude, I think the whole operation's a front, dude, because, again, I can't find this dude's licenses anywhere, dude.
I mean, obviously, his office is at the Human Bean.
Yeah, I want to add one caveat. He used to be licensed in the state of Utah. However, his last license expired in 2000.
Dude, I am literally ripping up right now. I'm going to dial the number here. Here we go.
Please check the number and dial again. Announcement.
Told you, dude. The whole thing, the whole website, dude, is a work of fiction. I've been running this dude's. Again, it's abnormal that it doesn't show me the state. It just says BCI. If you scroll on the bottom of the page, it says BCI and a number. And then you look at the next number, which purports to be a different license, and it has a sequential number from the previous number. That makes no sense.
Well, maybe...
So not only is he not identifying the states that he's licensed under, he's given himself license numbers that have sequential numbers from two different states. I'm going to give you the Hitler Friends and Family Program.
Go fuck yourself.
Go Farfignugan yourself.
548 or 648. I'm going to try the toll-free number, see what kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, see what that does. See what maybe we'll get on the actual Hitler Friends and Family customer service line.
To expect a different result would be Nuitz. Let's see here.
I'm glad you're calling these, dude. I was calling BS and all of it, but I hadn't tried these numbers yet.
This is Jason. Can I help you?
Hi, Jason. How are you doing? This is Kane B from The Purge. We're on a live stream from YouTube. Would you like to talk to us today?
I'm in the middle of something. It's not a good time.
Okay. Well, we were calling your office before over there at the Human Bean, and they weren't able to contact you. We wondered, are you going to go live with your knife search this week?
I wasn't planning on doing a live with the knife search, no.
Oh, okay. Is there any way that we can track that show or monitor that business?
I haven't really given that much thought. No, I don't know.
Okay, if you're busy now, is it possible we can get you to call us back?
It's possible. Send me a text. And what's it about? What do you want to talk about?
Okay, I certainly will. Yeah, it's we do a true crime show on YouTube, and our focus is the Idaho4 case.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the Kohberger case. Okay.
Yes, sir. So we would love to hear from you and discuss it if you would like, and maybe even have it as a guest on panel.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, I'll send you a text. Thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a great day.
Is this The Purge?
What the fuck?
What other knife is he searching for that you're asking about?
That's what I'm saying.
Is there a different knife? Am I unfamiliar with a second knife that he's searching for?
Did you hear the Human Being comment?
Yeah, Yeah, I like how he's like, oh, I'm just gonna move past that comment. You know what I mean? You can almost hear his wheels turning. You know.
Oh man, only on this show, bro.
Now, that's good stuff, dude. Here at the Purge, we're sponsored by PsyOps, type 2 diabetes, and whatever delicious snacks we have this week.
We're at 3 hours. We're just getting started here today.
Grab a sidebar.
You're going to sell 1 million of those sidebars. I can see it. You're going to forget me just like everybody else once you're big. They get their start here, JJ, and then they move on to greatness. Buy yourself a sidebar.
Well, I hope... oh, thank you. There you go, Miss Potts. Miss Potts.
That'll buy some sidebars right there, I'll tell you what.
Miss Potts, appreciate your work. Thanks, Miss Potts. That's good stuff, man, to get this guy on the phone, because people can see he didn't want to talk about it, and he pretended like there was a second knife he was looking for, I guess, because he was like, I don't know what you're doing. Is this? Oh, this is the Kohberger case. Oh, okay. You know, and he's operating this, this website with, with seemingly dubious credentials as far as listing. That's all I'm saying is in Ohio, you cannot get away with what he's doing here without listing your actual state license, without it being licensed in the state in which you claim you're headquartered in, Utah in this case. You can't do that in Idaho.
Please, guys, don't blow up his phone just for me. I'm gonna send him a text trying to get him on the show.
Yeah.
Give him a chance to. Thank you, McP. Man, JJ, when you're right, you're fucking right, bro.
I like to do my homework. Here at Operation GCD, I also like to be sponsored by type 2 diabetes. Various snacks like the sidebar, and I also like to do my
Every time you bring up type 2 diabetes, I want a donut. It's strikingly odd.
I'm gonna go get a donut as soon as I leave here.
I am totally programmed. Okay, I'll let you wrap it up here, JJ. I know you got a show to get ready for and stuff in a little bit here, and I'll definitely be watching.
I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate the time. It's a great discussion, and again, well done, sir, getting Mr. Jason Jensen. First of all, how dare this guy try to out JJ me? I'm over that already. How dare he?
But dude, you got the human being as your reference.
Yeah, I just when they bring in a private investigator named JJ, I'm like, wait a second here. I'm a former private.
Oh yeah, he is a
JJ.
JJ. Jason Jensen. They tried to out vice president you.
No doubt, dude. I don't like that just on its fundamental basis. No, I appreciate the time, fellow purgers. Always good time purging. I wish I could stay longer. I got a couple things I got to take care of. Operation GCD, doing a review tonight of a film called Ghost Story. Are you familiar with this one?
I haven't seen it. I didn't know that the whole Muppet cast was in it. I mean, Piggy. Piggy is great.
This is the Muppets. This is the Muppets take over the Ghost Story movie.
This is from the Dollar Tree, by the way. This is Purple Drink, I call it. And
I like Purple Drink.
It's good water, that Crystal Geyser. It's good stuff. It's only $1.25 still. Only 7 cents more than the spring water. Here, let me blow up your thing. I love this thumbnail you made for it. And you've got Fozzie Bear nice. Is now included with the cast there.
The GCD Muppet Factory has been hard at work.
That is not bad stuff. That is the most creepy Miss Piggy there's ever been, and I can only assume that is who's the guy on the far right? What's his name? He looks like him anyway.
Well, it started as Gonzo, but he got a little bit creepier.
Gonzo, Scooter-ish, and then you've kind of mixed Beaker with the Swedish Chef here.
That's correct. I did mix those two together, but the guy on the right started as Gonzo. You're a astute analysis of my Muppets is a fine job, sir. That was a Beaker Swedish Chef combo.
I do consider myself somewhat of a Muppet expert. I'll be honest with you.
You got to watch out for these two on the right. They're a bit rapey, but the two on the left.
All right, guys, we're going to shut it down there, and thank you everybody for being here. I hope you enjoyed our analysis of the trial here, and we're going to let JJ go anyway. I got a couple more things I want to look at, so we'll do
good
some
purging,
cruising.
sir. Good purging.
I'll see you later tonight, brother. I'm going to go work for a little bit and then come back on. And I appreciate you both, Meg P and Miss Potts, for supporting the show like you always do. You're amazing.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you all for your time, fellow purgers. Thank you, sir. And JJ Vance, not the vice president. Catch you next purge.
All right, my man. Look out for those hula burgers, brother. All right, as JJ Vance, let's take just a little bit more. What did I had? Oh, I had more Muse. There's actually a whole thing of Muse coming your way here if you'd like to stick around for a little bit. And today we had, that's the thing from the other day. Some of them, the newer stuff is mixed in, so I'm gonna have to go through all the pages. And let me switch it over so you guys can see here. And okay, we did that one already. I'm just gonna close these as I go along. I don't know that I played. Yeah, I think I talked about this. I just thought it was interesting with the stalking or whatever. Okay, we got the make it pink. If you missed that, these are the pictures from the gala that honored the memory of, again, another strange anomaly here with the legacy of the Idaho victims. This was meant to honor only 3 of them for whatever reason, and it's the 3 girls. So I just thought it was weird. So, okay, I wanted to read this. I was going to read this before the hearing. The defense for Bryan Kohberger, the man charged with unaliving 4 universities, appears to have requested a special investigation into alleged leaks in the case in an episode of NBC's Dateline last month. The prosecution in the case filed a response Wednesday to the defense's motion regarding the appointment of a special prosecutor, according to a public case summary. Judge Stephen Hippler, who presides over the case, ordered the filing sealed Thursday, the record showed. The case summary also indicated the defense filed a motion for access and fair investigation and an objection to release of privileged and confidential work product. Say that 10 times fast. Objection to release of privileged and confidential work product. Okay, I'm trying to put that into perspective. The case summary also indicated the defense filed a motioned a file for access and fair investigation and an objection to release of privileged and confidential work product on Wednesday, which Hippler also sealed Thursday. Sealed records are not released publicly, though the judge's sealing orders eventually will post to the state court's website. Idaho court spokesperson Nate Poponi told the Idaho statesperson. At a public hearing last month, Hippler stated he held a closed-door portion earlier that same morning, and the Ada County judge said he was open to bringing on a special prosecutor. That person would be tasked with investigating potential violations of the court's gag order by the law enforcement or the prosecution through the disclosure of previously unreleased information about Kohberger and the investigation revealed in the episode Dateline. I feel like I'm reading an SAT test. God, wow. That is my only hope for continuance, because he did allow for, and I'm not going to jump on this Friday Sergeant bandwagon and saying Hippler's a middle-of-the-road guy by any means, because he clearly isn't. But it does give hope that he is abiding within some kind of guideline of the law by signing somebody to look into this. If the court assigns the guy, we know what the answer is going to be. Nah, there was no big deal. But if the defense is allowed to pick the special prosecutor, then perhaps we'll get a solid person in there. You know. As indicated, I would be open to a request for appointment of a special prosecutor, Hippler told the defense at the hearing, and that special prosecutor to ask for a magistrate inquiry, so they have the power of subpoena and the power to question witnesses under oath, as well as the power to grant immunity. Most importantly, right? So I will be looking for that from you. Dateline representatives have not responded to prior requests for comment from the statesman. So here's the easy answer. You don't need a magistrate. You don't need a special investigator. Send somebody over to Dateline with a warrant or a subpoena or whatever you need, and tell them to tell you where they got the name. I don't know if that falls under freedom of press and protection of your sources. So they have to do this whole workaround instead of just directly asking Dateline who gave them the information, which is the simplest way. Let's save time. You've already messed up. Try to save some face. The gag order, which took effect 4 days after Kohberger's arrest in late December 2022, restricts attorneys from both sides and anyone affiliated with them, including members of law enforcement, from making public statements about the case outside of court. So you see there, it does not include victims' families, but if law enforcement is leaking to somebody in one of the families, and that family, you see. So it's a workaround. So I'll read that again. The gag order, which took effect 4 days after Kohberger's arrest in late December. So gag order went into effect 4 days after his arrest, as soon as that mayor opened his mouth, right? Thanks, Jen, for that. And anyone affiliated with them, including members of law enforcement, from making public statements about the case outside of court. The episode of Dateline aired May 9th, just days before a pre-trial hearing. They tell you right there, like, yeah, no, we did it right before the pre-trial hearing to just completely confound everyone. Edwina Elcox, a Boise-based criminal defense attorney, told the statesman that the filing appears to be about the appointment of a special prosecutor. That's exactly what I think that is. Elcox said in a phone interview Thursday, because obviously Judge Hippler invited it, and that's the way the formal request would be made. They do everything through motion practice. So the way you get that done is ask for a formal inquiry, and the court would appoint a special prosecutor. Hippler issued orders to the prosecution and defense to retain all records and correspondence related to the likely violations within 7 days. So Hippler earlier issued orders. It's like a nursery rhyme. Am I the only one? Hippler earlier issued orders, and then you have little Miss Muffet sat on a tuff. It's the same iambic pentameter. Hippler earlier issued order to the prosecution and defense team to retain all records. So the prosecution and defense are not allowed to throw anything out. And if they threw it out, how in the feck is he supposed to know? Related to the likely violations within 7 days. Each side filed a related notice of compliance to the court on May 22nd, with the prosecution also submitting a supplemental filing on the matter the next day. So they both said they would comply, and Hurwitz complied a little extra. I'm not going to read this code. Sorry. Kohberger 30 faces 4 counts. The victims were, let's see how they describe it. 3 women lived in the Moscow home, with 2 female roommates who went physically unharmed in the attack, while Chapin was Kernodle's boyfriend and stayed over for the night. Kohberger's capital trial in Boise is scheduled to start with jury selection at the end of July 30th, I believe. Defense attorneys last month sought to delay Kohberger's trial, citing an overwhelming amount of evidence they've yet to review, which she restated today, as well as the prejudicial information released about their client on the NBC News program. Prosecutors objected to that request to postpone, and a public court hearing is scheduled for today, which we saw, to argue the issue before Hitler. So say a prayer for our friend Douglas Outlaw, that he's being maybe called up to duty over there with the horrible situation that's happened in the Middle East. So please send prayers out to him and his family. I'm sure his wife is a nervous wreck right now. Nick Rolovich appeals earlier decision, says WSU fired him for his faith. Okay, we read that one. Nothing wrong with reviewing. No King's protest draws thousands to Tampa Bay, and allegedly there was 800 people in the Moscow. Just FYI. While DeSantis talks about hitting protesters with cars, Tampa police ask anyone demonstrating to do so in a safe and responsible manner. That's coming on. We read that one. Let's see. I got a couple more. They're all mixed in here. I mistakenly mixed them in. And we'll do if you guys want to put a 1 in the chat if you want to play Hot or Not, just the tip. We take the stories of a criminal, and you tell me with a 1 or a 2 whether they're hot or not. We can do it another night on an actual Purge show. But let's see. Okay, this was Lucy Morningstar's. And if you missed this was actually very interesting. This shows, I think this was the thing that showed Molly McMichael's DoorDasher ID, and then we discussed it further, and I do the DoorDash thing, and there's no way DoorDash would release to the public, to any YouTube channel, for the sake of the Lord, that their name, that's protected. So how that came about is beyond me. 2 people lost their lives skydiving, and I'll save the jokes on that one. I'm not gonna. Okay. This was okay. There's the beginning, and they're still mixed in with the mugshots here. And this is the Michigan thing. Mugshots. I'll leave that. I'll close this one. Yeah, okay, this is the one I was looking for. I'm going to save this one. And these are the vehicles that law enforcement used after this shooter. And one of his was one of these like Hummer type vehicles. So he came in like he was straight FBI. And this is the thing that happened in Minnesota with the 2 senators. So I just thought that was... I'd never seen this. Now, I don't know. They've straight gone Black Ops now, I guess. Apparently, those be Secret Service guys. This was another thing, and you can read that in Juarez, where it's crazy. I had a friend that I worked with at Amazon, and she grew up in Juarez. And the first time she got out of there, she was shipped to Afghanistan in the Army. I'm like, man, you go from war zone to war zone. This was the biggest heist, $190 million crypto laundering scheme. And I meant to mention this with JJ. So let me read the story to you. The unnamed security company transferred cash between businesses and banks. A task force investigating a series of suspicious transactions alleges the security company mixed cash from its legitimate business's arm with illicit funds deposited by suspected criminals. The AFP alleges the security company channeled the money through a web of transactions, including through a sales promotion company, a classic car dealership, and a cryptocurrency exchange services. The company then allegedly paid laundered money to its clients as cryptocurrency or through the third-party companies. The Australian Fed alleged the scheme's operators washed $190 million. Those charged include the director and general manager of the security company, an alleged client of the scheme, and a man who it is alleged funneled money between the accounts for the client. The Asia Pacific Network Information Center, the regional internet registry that serves 56 economies and over 4 billion people worldwide, has completed the organizational realignment process flagged to the register by... Am I taking the SAT? What world did I wake up in today? The process means APNIC has changed the nature of its internal teams. So there will be no more gorillas in the swimming pools. Okay? 8 attorneys apply for Latah County Magistrate Judge vacancy in Moscow. It was funny, last night Angel D was like, Latahs, everybody. I thought that was good. That was really good. 8 attorneys have applied for Latah County Magistrate Judge vacancy in Moscow. The seat was vacated in May when former Magistrate Judge Megan Marshall was appointed to the Upper Latah County 2nd District Court. Now, the one that Kohberger's in is 4th District Court, I believe. Felony bench in Moscow by Governor Brad Little. That post opened when former Judge John Judge retired in January. The applications are Moscow City Prosecutor Reed Breivik, Benoit County, Chief Deputy Prosecutor Aaron Frudendenthal, I can't today, and St. Marie's Moscow Attorney Sandra Lockett, Lewis County Prosecutor Zach Paul, and Nez Perce County Senior Judicial Staff Attorney Kelly Porter. They couldn't have just said Esquire of Lewiston. Nez Perce County Magistrate Judge Sunil Ramalama Ding Dong of Lewiston, Idaho's Public Defender's Office Trial Attorney Donald Terry of Sandpoint, and Moscow Attorney Aaron Tomlin. I've heard that name before, Aaron Tomlin. The Idaho State Supreme Court has launched a public comment period to gather input on the applicants. It ends on July 7th, and you can find a link for the comment form here. The Idaho Magistrate Commission on the 2nd Judicial District will identify the finalists to be interviewed on July 21st before making the appointment. It's not... It's like, it's a little bit funny. It's not funny. Oh, where's the darn picture? The small plane, it landed on the roof here. It's like somebody was playing with the dollhouse and somebody brought in a Piper Cub. Let's see, where is it? There it is. You may have seen it already. I don't know. I just want to show you. Alright, this is really big news, food news for JJ. News. Cheez-It has a new limited edition snack in stores, and you won't believe, and we salute this innovation here at The Purge also as well. Cheez-It has a new flavor, and it's Wendy's Baconator. Yes, sir. Right before that, Cheez-It dropped an all-new product we never saw it coming. called the Cheez-It Pizza. So if you're too lazy to put pepperoni and cheese on your Cheez-It, and I mentioned this earlier, you got the mega size peanut butter M&Ms, no coffee mega size as of yet, but they will be affiliated with the Jurassic Park thing there. And let's see, okay, so it'd be funny if James Jensen comes on and it's like, the only guests I have are JJ's. So all right, I'm going to shut it down there. I'm going to go eat my potato finally, and I appreciate everybody being here, guys. It was a very fluffy hearing, so that to say the least, and I hope you all have a great night. That about does it for you. And if the James Jensen thing, I'll send him a text. If that is something that develops tonight, I'll go live tonight, and we'll talk to him on the Purge. So y'all have a great evening. Take care, and thank you, Miss Potts and McPhee and everybody for being here. I appreciate you. Yeah, peanut butter M&Ms are really actually reduced, and it was amazing. Really great to have you back meeting. So I will see